right there in the mix. Talking tough on issues just to get those kicks. In one room she's a fighter, in another she's a friend. With every new appearance it's a chance to transcend. She's a master of disguise, ever shifting in her style. Keeps you on your toes with that chameleon smile. Come on, chameleon, it's a colorful game. She'll sway or she'll align like a well-timed chime. Whatever you want, she can make it flow. Come by like a million, she'll change her tune again to appease them all. It's a high-stakes brawl. There's a girl named Kamala. She's got a unique flair, switching up her stances like she just don't care. When she's with the progress, she'll take a bold stand. But with the moderates, it's a whole different plan. Everyone's on edge, never knowing what she'll say, but she gets all guessing every single day. Come on, like a million, she'll change her tune again, depending on the crowd. You know she'll wild them loud. When the votes are on the line, she's right there in the mix. Talking tough on issues just to get those kicks. In one room she's a fighter, in another she's a friend. With every new appearance it's a chance to transcend. She's a master of disguise, ever shifting in her style. Keeps you on your toes with that chameleon smile. Come on, chameleon, it's a colorful game. She'll sway or she'll align like a well-timed chime. Whatever you want, she can make it flow. Come by like a million, she'll change her tune again to appease them all. It's a high-stakes brawl. There's a girl named Kamala. She's got a unique flair, switching up her stances like she just don't care. When she's with the progress, she'll take a bold stand. But with the moderates, it's a whole different plan. Everyone's on edge, never knowing what she'll say, but she gets all guessing every single day. Come on, like a million, she'll change her tune again, depending on the crowd. You know she'll wild them loud. When the votes are on the line, she's right there in the mix. Talking tough on issues just to get those kicks. In one room she's a fighter, in another she's a friend. With every new appearance it's a chance to transcend. She's a master of disguise, ever shifting in her style. Keeps you on your toes with that chameleon smile. Come on, chameleon, it's a colorful game. She'll sway or she'll align like a well-timed chime. on show. Whatever you want, she can make it flow. Come by like a million, she'll change her tune again to appease them all. It's a high stakes ball. There's a girl named Kamala, she's got a unique flair, switching up her stances like she just don't care. When she's with the progress, she'll take a bold stand, but with the moderates, it's a whole different plan. Everyone's on edge, never knowing what she'll say, but she gets all guessing every single day. Kamala Chameleon, she'll change her tune again, depending on the crowd. You know she'll wild them loud. When the votes are on the line, she's right there in the mix, talking tough on issues just to get those kicks. In one room she's a fighter, in another she's a friend. With every new appearance it's a chance to transcend. She's a master of disguise, ever shifting into style, keeps you on your toes with that chameleon smile. Come on, chameleon, it's a colorful game. She'll sway or she'll align like a well-timed chime. You come and go, she'll put on show. Whatever you want, she can make it flow. Come by like a million, she'll change her tune again to appease them all. It's a high stakes ball. There's a girl named Kamala, she's got a unique flair, switching up her stances like she just don't care. When she's with the progress, she'll take a bold stand, but with the moderates, it's a whole different plan. Everyone's on edge, never knowing what she'll say, but she gets all guessing every single day. Kamala Chameleon, she'll change her tune again, depending on the crowd. You know she'll wild them loud. When the votes are on the line, she's right there in the mix, talking tough on issues just to get those kicks. In one room she's a fighter, in another she's a friend. With every new appearance it's a chance to transcend. She's a master of disguise, ever shifting into style, keeps you on your toes with that chameleon smile. Come on, chameleon, it's a colorful game. She'll sway or she'll align like a well-timed chime. You come and go, she'll put on show. Whatever you want, she can make it flow. Come by like a million, she'll change her tune again to appease them all. It's a high.
Shackle,
tantrum. You're never satisfied with what you have. Every day's an off day if you don't get your way. Scream more, more, more until your throat gets sore. Jump on the direct express. Let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby. Get out tonight. Oh, get out tonight. Oh yeah, you know what I want. Never pants in any weather. The world revolves around you. Greedy and a bit needy. That's what I like about you. Your perky, pouting lips, so put your love on me. Oh, I beg and bribe to get to you. But how much can I pay? Oh, jump on the direct express. Let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby. Get out tonight. Jump on the direct express. Let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby. Get out tonight. Oh, get out tonight. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby. You know what I want. Jump on the direct express. Let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby. Get out tonight. Jump on the direct express. Let's make it right. Don't be a spoiled brat, baby. Get out tonight. Ooh, yeah. Shackleton, you know what I want.
Today is the beginning of the end and the start of a new beginning. Time has come to refine yourself and let go of the demons in your head that have held you in captivity for so long. It's time to flip the page and prove them wrong. It's time for rebirth. Yeah, time's up to say goodbye to all the haters, doubters, and non-believers trying to bring you down. In the blink of an eye, you'll realize that there's so much more to the book than the page you were stuck on. Finally, you will be free to live a life you love living instead of the life you think other people want you to live. Remember, you're the highest authority when it comes to knowing what you want and what you love. So stop trading yourself for the approval from others. Ladies and gentlemen, weirdos and geeks, please repeat after me. time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct, stop listening to others, and own your decision. People will always tell you what to do, being how to live. So let's create space for what matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
What's up? Back again. I was not actually going to do another stream tonight, but it's Labor Day. It's a special stream. We're going to have some fun. I'm actually going to have to cam down for a minute. I forgot to turn on some stuff over there, so I need to do that. Yeah, it was a quick intro tonight. So we're going to have some stuff happening. I think Glenn's going to be on shortly, so give me a second. I'm going to cam down just 1 minute, and I will be back. Actually, I'll just keep talking, but I got to stop the video for a second while I can move around. Hopefully, you can still hear me. At any rate, we're going to have Glenn on tonight. At least we're supposed to, if he doesn't go to sleep. He has, lately he's been burning all the oil, not just the midnight oil, but basically all of the oil. And, so, and I guess he slept through his he slept through his show last night and had I guess he meant to get up. He didn't. I don't know. He's on. I don't think he's on the pain meds anymore, but I think he's having a good time managing the pain and the sleep and all of that. And he does have a very strange sleep schedule. I think that a lot of it is designed around him being able to get work done and whatnot. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. So. At any rate, that's where we're at. What kind of oil is Glenn using? Mobile One? I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. You got somebody. Somebody sent me something to watch, and I didn't get a chance to watch it. I probably should. Give me one sec, guys. I gotta cam down just one more time. I apologize. This is very unprofessional of me. All the people who say I'm unprofessional are probably right. So I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? All right. And we're back. Just like that. Just like that. And I'm back. What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? Well, it's Labor Day. We're having some fun on Labor Day. It's been a bit of a day. Seems like I was the subject of, or I am the subject now these days of other streams, and that's fine. I've been reviewed and rebuked and all kinds of things, and that's totally cool. I don't know that I should be flattered or if I should be annoyed or whatever. Honestly, I kind of don't care. whatever. It is whatever. I don't know if we're supposed to be celebrating unions today or not. I actually don't really celebrate Labor Day, so it is what it is. I'm management, so Labor Day is for labor. So I don't really do much with that. Yep. All right. So what is new and exciting? Guess what about Josie? I don't know. Oh no, Josie's been fine. Guys, look, I don't really have a problem with Josie. The only problem that I ever have with Josie is that sometimes in her weird sense of whatever it is that she thinks she is, she just goes too far, or she just doesn't I don't know. She just goes too far sometimes. Or she just goes down a path in the wrong way and it just pisses me off. And she starts drama. That's a good way to put it as well. So, all right. So guys, I'm very curious. This is an unplanned stream. I think Glenn kind of wants to pick up where we were left off with the discussion this afternoon. I've thought about it. I don't know that I really want to go too far down that path, but there's many things we can talk about. What? Oh, that's funny, Arthur Daya. That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah. Probably. I don't know. Anyway, there's a bunch of really cool stuff going on out there in the world these days. And if you don't get out there and at least try it, yeah, you'll probably miss it. You know, Silvar Ogre, my mom had 8 successful labors. That's 2/3 of Hercules 12. That's badass. You guys are killing me, man. You guys are killing me. Yeah, Josie does start drama. I don't really know. I mean, I don't think she intentionally starts drama. It's just, just kind of who she is. Just, just how it works out, Really looking forward to this week's shows. The shows should go really well and really be worthwhile. So that'll be good. Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back. I'm bad. Oh shit, I'm interfering with somebody's Mod Monday. Oops. Who cares? It's interesting to me, guys. Let me ask. So there's a culture, if you will, of people who are, in my opinion, complete fucking morons that, for whatever reason, are just not capable of producing content, yet they want to be in the content creator space. The only way they actually can produce content is by using other people's content and making snarky, snide remarks or otherwise kind of reviewing it, I guess. And I've noticed this for the last few months, right? And really, I notice it with like Andrew, Brian, some other creators I follow. They'll say something, and then some asshole somewhere has to say some shit that is irrelevant, right? And it's, I mean, what is that about people, right? Like, I try really hard. I don't do review reels, right? I just don't do those. I try not to talk about other creators at all, ever. Like I don't talk about what happens on whatever. I don't talk about what Andrew does as far as content. Advanced dick writing. Yeah, you know what? Shane Herbert, you are a fucking genius. That's what it is. It is 100% advanced dick writing. 100%. What's up, Flow State? I know you do, buddy. Hey, I heard that you made a great review video for me. I'm going to have to check it out. But the problem is I can't find your channel. You should link it down below because I fucking can't find your channel, bro. I was actually looking for it the other night. I wanted to stop by, but I couldn't find it. So, but yeah, it's backstabbing. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go so far as backstabbing, but dick riding for sure. Dick riding for sure. At Flow State. Okay, cool, man. I know you can't link, bro. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's cool. I'll look at. I'll find it. Yeah, you can go to Discord and do it. I did actually try and find your channel. I'm not bullshitting you. I really did try and find your channel. But advanced dick riding. I'm going to review that. You don't think I review me? Okay. Hey, I don't watch, so I don't know, man. I just hear what people tell me, and that's it. I'm just not that cool, right? Like I'm just, look, I'm old. I'm an old guy. So I can only go by what people tell me because I don't actually do it myself generally. Oh, Shelby got me, bro. Thank you. Basic dick riding is joining on people. Oh, hang on, guys. This is my wife. I got to take a minute. You guys chill. All right. Okay. Give me 1 sec. I got to mute. What's up, Glenn?
What's up?
Not much, man. Not much. Flow State's in the house. Say hi to Flow State.
What up, Flo?
Our monthly Flow came in.
Is he Flo or Uncle Flo? It's Uncle Flo.
Uncle Flo. Well, it could be Aunt Flo. Hey, I don't judge. He can identify whatever he wants. I don't care. He can, he, she, something like that. That's it can be that way. I was just asking the chat before I got a call from my wife who didn't, because I don't normally stream on Mondays, so this is generally a safe hour to call. And I had to say, hey, I'm actually streaming right now. Let me jump off. So now she's going to call my son and annoy him for a while. I mean, talk to him for a while. We were talking about how, what is it with people? There seems to be a subset of people on the YouTubes that seem to not be able to actually do any content of their own, but they just go around and like kind of sort of review other people's content and all that kind of stuff. And Shane Herbert says that it is advanced dick writing. So I think he's right. What do you think?
Advanced dick writing.
Advanced.
I mean, you talking about like professional dick riding, like they ride the dick better than them hoes do? Yeah, I can see that.
Semi-pro. Not semi-pro, but pro.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, what it is, what's funny is because it's like, there's certain people that will name drop to talk shit about people, because they know that it will cause some level of controversy, especially if you could get someone to react to that level of controversy.
React, respond.
Yeah, and they're almost in hoping that you do, because
whoa, holy fuck, Flo, God bless it, man. Flow State says, so basic dick riding is speakeasy.
I don't.
Whoa, it got serious, folks.
I don't know what you are referencing when you say that.
And I don't want to know. This is not that kind of channel, Flow State.
I would need further clarification because I don't know what that means. Like, are you referring?
Yeah, was it your
easy dick riding or people dick riding easy?
Yeah,
because that both sounds really gay to me, and I don't promote.
Like a lot of
I don't promote homos activity over here. It's not a pro homo show.
Sounds like a lot of homosexual activity up in the joint.
We need a woman up here now, please. A woman.
Hey Cheryl, how are you? How are you doing tonight?
Flo just made the show gay.
That's what happens when Flo shows up, turns the show gay. You think only Easy does basic dick right? I mean, whatever. Could be mistaken. All right, I'll go with it. Damn, the show just got way more interesting. Chris Lestrange, what's up, gentlemen? Chris, you should come up. Somebody throw Chris a link. Somebody throw Chris a link. Oh, everybody's feisty tonight. Feisty, brother. Feisty. So for all the guys who are going to be reviewing this video later, please get my good side. And if you can't, just blue screen me. Just whatever, just if it's not my good side, it's not the side. So you okay? You okay, Glenn? You're awfully quiet.
I'm here. I'm just waiting for something good. Oh, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, we got derailed by Flow State. That's right. So back to what I was saying.
We got derailed by gayness.
Some people are not creative enough to come up with their own show topics, their own content. So the best thing that they could do is react. And that's why there's tons of reaction channels. And not saying that the reaction channels are bad. And not saying that some of their takes are bad either. The question is, when you are doing a reaction channel or reaction show, are you reacting to it and adding value to it? Or are you just reacting to it and not adding any value? And that's the real question when it comes to reaction channels. And there's a market for reaction channels, and it's basically,
absolutely.
They should just call it opinion channels. Like the opinion section in the newspaper, or when anchor from a news show is giving you their opinion on whatever they're talking about, whatever is in the news. Like the TV show or the Fox show called The Five. That's all really an opinion show. Although they're talking about things in the news and what's going on, but they're 5 commentators giving you 5 different opinions. And that's what a reaction shows are. These reaction channels are just that. So there is a place for them. But then when you're reacting and you're not adding any value, then it's just, what are you doing? You're just talking. And if you're doing it intentionally to kind of jab at somebody that you don't like, and you're constantly writing them in hopes of getting them to react, or their viewers to notice that you're talking about someone that they like, and to get some type of controversy going.
Okay.
Because they need the controversy. And that's the sad thing. There's people out here that need controversy in order to stay relevant, in order to have anything worth talking about, or to give people a reason to actually look at their content, is dependent upon having beef with people and shit talking.
So let's take this another direction really quick, because you bring up a really good point. What about guys like Andrew who do debate prep and break down the arguments in a very clear way? It's not a reaction video.
Well, he is reacting. He is reacting to it, but he's adding value.
Kind of reaction, but it's not really. It's a breakdown of why and what the tactic is, and what the argument is, and what they may have changed from the last time that they were in that argument. What about that? You consider that really a reaction video, or is that more just a
he's responding and reacting. It's still a reaction. He's still reacting to whatever is being discussed in the video. And he's adding value to it by saying,
he's definitely adding value.
He's saying, okay, they're saying this, and then he's breaking down the logic, and he's trying to get a clearer picture of what they mean by what they're saying. So yeah, he's still reacting, but he's adding value and expanding upon the thought.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. Interesting. Sure. All right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing
wrong.
Well,
that was just kind of an off the cuff thing. It really came up because I've seen lately, I've been watching some, or, just stuff shows up, and I'm like, what's going on with these guys? It's like stupid stuff. And I don't know. I just thought it was fun. Just kind of thought,
yeah.
Nothing specifically. Nothing I could point at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it seems like there are some creative. It seems to me, and you know what? I guess what's all right. So like, I'm kind of a fan of Hypnotic's channel.
Yeah.
And he's done, so he was doing like a bunch of analysis, or he was posting Andrew, a lot of the Andrew debate videos, the Piers Morgan debate videos about Destiny. And he's political and anti-woke, but at the same time, I think that he kind of he divides things into separate entities, right? So like, he's been doing lately mostly not reviews really, but reporting on the woke gaming companies that are going broke one right after the other because of their nonsense. Now, he's not reviewing videos so much as he's going through and he is breaking down news articles, and it's a very meta, if you will, conversation about the entire industry and where these different companies fit in the industry and how they all work together, and so on and so forth. So it's so in one way he is a reaction. He's doing a reaction video because it's his reaction to these things. But at the same time, it's not really a video that he's reacting to in most cases. Now he reacted to the Piers Morgan video, and I watched something came up in my feed the other day about I always want to call her a different name, but it's Brett Cooper, and someone was reacting to the way that she announced that she her engagement about 6 months ago, I guess. And this was an old video that just popped up. So it's very interesting. And, like Hypnotic, you could make an argument that he doesn't actually produce a lot of you make the argument that he doesn't actually produce a lot of the content. He's just reporting on the content, which I guess is creative in its own way. And then, of course, he does panel shows as well. So I don't know, man. It's just interesting. Those are kind of like the top tier, but there seems to be a ton of low tier, low class, low T, maybe they need a blood test, Glenn.
Low T, as in you're talking about the content creators like have low T.
Yeah. Maybe the content creators need a blood test. Content creators that basically take videos and they just run, just have literally the worst opinions that I've ever seen. I really got to get off of YouTube more and talk talk to normal people more, I think. Hormaxer is just funny though. But yeah, sure. Okay. He's funny though, I think sometimes. You got to be funny. If you're boring, at least be funny, right? Flow State, you're still here, man. I thought you would have bugged out for greener pastures by now. I can't, but hey, man, thanks for adding to the crowd and helping me with my algorithm. I appreciate it. So his T is low. Well, it is if he stops taking the injections. That's for fucking sure. Charlotte Nightstar, the werewolf, has arrived in style, of course. Lots of people out there tonight. Normally, I would say hello to the chat individually, but too many of you guys. I see Clovertack out there, though. What's up, buddy? How are you? I crashed your party last night on purpose, by the way. Thank you for pumping up the Grid One Algo Flow State. Appreciate it. Hello, hello, Michelle. I'm not even going to attempt Nayakas again. Les, welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you. Clovertack was doing a stream last night, and they asked a question about the 5 influential or I guess influential popular weapons in gunfighter days. Then I had to come up with some off the wall shit just because that's what I do. You're not feeling well? Damn, son, you were in the ER? Are you okay, buddy? Bro, seriously, are you okay? Clovertack, pay attention. Focus. Don't head for the light. If you need to, buddy, man, just PM me and we'll talk about it.
Who needs some purrs?
Clovertack, man. He said he spent all day in the ER.
Oh, damn. Clover, you all right, man?
I have not seen Jim Bob on Mod Monday. Whoever said that.
Oh, yeah. Is he on right now? I think he's on with I know Sarah is on. So
I don't know. It was
I
just
heard
in the
that
chat.
he
It
was
popped
on
up
there
the chat.
before.
It popped up on my chat, man. Popped up on my chat. Oh, maybe. Oh, last week, Rob Noor. I like Rob Noor. I like that guy. That guy's cool. Oh, was that last Mod Monday? Sweet. That would have been cool, man. Are you working right now, Les? Or are you just hanging out? You know what? I actually I need to reach out to Rob Noor, Arthrodaya, and see if he wants to collaborate on some stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Oh, that is sad because he'll probably win. Oh, somebody just sorry guys.
Okay.
My phone. Are you ready, Glenn? You sound less distracted now. You are you okay, buddy?
I'm always okay.
All right, good.
I think. I'm always okay. Why is it not working?
All right, sorry guys. That's just bad TV. That's all. Just bad TV.
What's bad TV?
Me not saying anything for like 2 whole minutes while I was texting somebody.
Ah.
I literally just texted Beaten Cheeks to get his half black ass in here.
Well, then he's not going to come in here because we all know that he is not black, not even a little bit.
He's a little. I mean, he claims half. I'll look.
He identifies with half.
I understand, but I understand that. But you gotta humor him, man. You gotta suck him in, man. Obscene profit, dead air. That's fucking.
What's the
funny.
difference of like telling Being Cheeks that he's half black or agreeing with this half
That's
blackness
funny.
and telling women and telling dudes that they could be women? It's the same type of delusion. We don't support delusion, Grid. We can't let him have his delusion.
I can do whatever I want.
Okay, that's true.
You bastards. Hey, Chris Lestrange, man, that mustache. Always on point, my friend.
What it do,
Thank you.
Chris?
How's it going, Glenn?
Is claiming he has a bad day. There's only one word to reply to that with.
So, how's it going, gentlemen? I've been listening to the discussion.
Yeah, hey, you got some opinions on the discussion?
I don't think anybody wants to hear my opinion about this discussion because I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off because...
Hey, man, go for it. You're not going to hurt my... Look, it's all fine. You said...
No, well, go for it.
Well, the problem for me is I make stuff for a living in terms of art. So for me asking, oh well, repurposing stuff in any sense, I'm usually like, nah, make your own shit. Don't be lazy. Like I've had to deal with a lot of people stealing work and stuff from me, and in like art or whether you paint or draw anything, you don't want people reusing your shit. That's like a no. You don't. That gets frowned upon.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like that's legit, actually. I get the reaction video genre. I really do. I'm not saying I don't. I've just today, for example, there was I'm sitting here, I'm working, and while I'm working, I have something up on the screen just to kind of fill the background noise, and then I'm working over here. So I'm, and I had a reaction video up, and it was just terrible. It was just terrible. And so I popped it down. For whatever reason, my feed today was like 80% reaction videos for some stupid ass reason. I usually get like pilot videos where they crash shit, but not today. So
no, see, it's different. Like with review videos, if you're reviewing like new music, but you're a musician, like I get that. That makes sense. You're kind of giving your whole interpretation of whatever they're doing or rating it. But I think that line makes sense to me. Or let's say you review something of somebody talking crap about you or any of that. That I get. But if that's all that you're producing, you're not really producing anything. You're just rehashing other people's stuff. So I think I'd give the caveat to that because the digital space is different. So I'd say, let's call it art rules. So you would have to at least change 30% of it. So if 30% is reaction videos, I'd say you have to at least do about 70% of your own stuff.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's my gut check reaction to reaction videos is that they're boring as fuck. Like, I really don't give a shit about your opinion of somebody else's work, right?
Yeah.
Now there's the caveat to that is like, an instructor reviewing a flight video, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a professional reviewing an amateur.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
specialist opinion where you would actually like to hear what this person says about what's happened because it's coming from a place of authority.
Right. And like, like I used the example earlier, Hypnotic, he does reviews and not so much reviews anymore of games, but of the companies and the way that they're acting, and he'll review some of their stuff. And now, and so that is a little different because that's a guy who is a gamer reviewing games. Right.
Exactly.
So that's okay. But I think the laziness is when I get a stream pop up that's, reviewing a clip of whatever. They totally out of context. They literally have this like 2-minute blurb, and they just talk shit about it the whole time. And then they get 30 minutes of bullshit out of a 2-minute clip. And I'm using whatever, it could be anything. I don't really give a shit. It just seems like the lowest tier of creativity. Like, there's actually no creativity, and nobody really gives a shit about your opinion anyway. So.
Yeah, it's just your opinion, and at the end of the day, like I said, a position of authority critiquing something is different, but also you would have to make a little bit of the delineation between if you saying your reaction or review channel, but your sole purpose is just to shit on the person who made it, and you're not actually articulating a review or a criticism that's coming from something valid, then you're just trying to make drama, and you are literally just catering to this like negative shit talking kind of mentality, which I don't see the point in that. I guess it gets views, but I mean, at what cost? Because that's kind of what you're painting yourself as a hater at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf. I love reaction videos on Family Guy or American Dad with this happy couple kid and see it's phenomenally even more funnier. Yeah. Okay. And look, again, I don't know. Glenn's power went out, so.
Oh no.
Mediocre tutorial and review, Siege says. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Josiane Lassar. Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's what she's talking about. Yeah. Yeah. I just think, I don't know, man. I just think that it's I don't know. And look, I'm sure I've been the subject of such things, by now. I just I haven't come across them yet, or nobody's pointed them out to me. But
Yeah, it's different. Like, Grid, if you were talking about guns or cars or something you have experience in, you're actually giving a review. But I believe reviews are different than reactions, because it seems like reactions is just to stir up drama. And like I said, it's different. If somebody was made a video about you and you're going through it, that's completely different.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, you're directly connected to it. Again, I
Yeah.
would classify that as a point of authority type of situation, as you are the topic. So there are delineations. It's more just oh, we're going to react to something, but it's more just we're just going to talk crap about it and say, well, I don't like it, with no actual criticism given.
I mean, that's fair. That's a fairly realistic way to look at it. I've been Clovertech says reactions are lowbrow and intentionally play into what the average viewer wants, drama. See, I think that's why I don't like it. I don't really care that much about the drama. I really just want to have the information, or I want to have a good discussion. I want to have a good I want to see a good conversation. So, yeah. So and look, I don't, if you are going to review something like whatever and you've never actually seen a full episode, that's a problem. And we saw that in this kid a few months ago who went after Andrew for and this was I didn't actually know Andrew that well then, but this kid went after Andrew, saying that Andrew was supporting whatever, and whatever supported these women in their prawn lifestyle, and so he was contributing to prawn and shouldn't call himself a Christian and some other things. And the whole reason this guy was pissed off is because he had been told that he had asked to be on whatever, and Brian said, what do you want to talk about? And the guy's like, well, I want to come argue with you about whatever. Yeah, the right corner, that's him. Yeah, and Brian's like, that's not what the show's about. The show is not about you arguing with me about my positions on things. It's about talking to the girls about the realities of what they're doing in life. And Glenn was moderating that debate, and it was like the first time I'd ever talked to Glenn Lawrence. It was really funny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I watched that debate between him and Andrew, or saw a clip of it. But again, I mean, did he not watch the show? Brian is not involved.
That's exactly what I came on and asked him. I'm like, have you ever actually watched the show? No. Well, then what do you know? How do you know anything?
And that's the argument with the promoting of the OnlyFans and that, and criticizing Andrew for being on there. That's like saying if the church talks about how Satanism is bad, they're promoting Satanism. Come on, you're being silly. Like, you have to address problems. It's not promoting them.
Right. And this guy's entire Instagram, this guy had like an entire Instagram channel where he actually had his thumbnails for his Instagram channel were pictures of girls' boobs and stuff, like the same kind of thumbnails. And yet he's like, well, I'm just showing how bad they are and how evil this is. And they're like, well, yeah, so does whatever, right? I mean, it's like, it's good for you. It was a really interesting dynamic. And that guy, that was his whole deal as kind of he was mad at Andrew because he wanted to go on to whatever wouldn't let him. And he made a bunch of really horrible, like, reaction videos. Well, he was irrelevant then too, CHD. He's only on Instagram. It was just really bad. And the problem is that if he had gone about it right, he could have done really well. And that's another thing that I see people criticize other people about. Now, not necessarily in the space that I'm in, where I'm just a dude with a microphone running his fucking mouth, man. I mean, let's just be honest about it. I don't have any talent. I never claim to have any talent. The only thing I do is just sit here and talk to people and try and have good conversations. But there are people Well, I mean, thank you for saying that, but you know, they're better people than me. But there are other people out there that are not, that are actually trying very, very hard to make themselves relevant in some way, but they don't make it for whatever reason, and then they get really bitter and they just turn around and look for anything that will bring them drama or you know, put eyeballs on them. It's just toxic. It's just a really toxic thing. So I just don't know.
Yeah, but the problem with that is it's the same thing. If you look at the success Andrew's had, right? It's not because he's on whatever. It's because he's good at debating. That's what these people forget. Trying to get famous or trying to get eyeballs on them. Meanwhile, if you were doing something of value, you would get eyeballs by proxy. It might not be as quickly.
Yeah.
But that's how you sustain it, is actually do something of value. Just trying to increase views is pointless, because how are you going to sustain that beyond the drama? And then you get sucked into this negative spiral of having the drama be what you do, but that is not a tangible skill at all. It's just you're inventing chaos, basically.
Well, let me throw this out there, because I think this is important. I think it's important to say things like, and just to be intellectually honest, right? Like, just, you know, just because it's important to be so. You have a creator like Andrew, right? And Andrew will freely admit that he tailors his responses and the tactics he uses and other things to play to the crowd sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he is, after you remove everything else, when you strip everything else, he's an entertainer that needs to entertain. Now he entertains through debate, through having conversation and discourse, and so, you know, in some cases by being a little bit edgy and aggressive, right? Yes. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that if we're intellectually honest with each other, these are important things. These are important distinctions, right? Like, you can't just say, it would be a lie if Andrew stood up and said, I am doing this, all my motives are altruistic, I don't care about the money I make or whatever. It's far, and I'm picking on Andrew here, by the way. I'm picking on Andrew because he's easy and we all know who we're talking about. I could say the same thing about any content creator over 10,000 subs, right?
Yeah, but it's
even me.
It's not even
and I'm
picking
not
on Andrew. It's not even picking on Andrew, because if you said it now, if you break it down, at the end of the day, what is the purpose of being on YouTube or that? Andrew's purpose and having that audience is because he entertains them with debates and everything he does, but he understands the fundamentals of what's important. He needs to be entertaining. And that's I don't think that's a knock at Andrew. That is showing he's doing something.
I'm not knocking Andrew. I use the word picking on him because he's the easiest, best example I have in front of me to use, right? And because we're all familiar with him, we're all familiar with his work. We all know that. And look, is he, when he sits there in his chat and says, give me a word, if you pay me $200 and give me a word, I will put it in I will work it into the next bit.
Dude,
right?
That was so clever, and that was so
Wasn't that fucking awesome? And there's nothing wrong with him. I see nothing wrong with that. Okay. If he can actually do that, if he can actually work it in and make it work, and I know Brian had to been like, what the fuck? You know? Because he's not seeing this, and we're seeing this. We know what's going on.
He realized. I looked at his face when Andrew was doing it with some of the stuff. I think Brian realized somehow. I could see there was something clicking in his brain that something was going down when Andrew was doing that. But I think ultimately, and as you said it, Grid, I don't. It's not that the money's not important, but I can promise you, when Andrew did that last night, he's been on so many panels. I don't know him as well, but I'm assuming he's been on so many of these panels that he did it because he wanted to have fun. That wasn't about the money or anything. It was a challenge.
It's both of
And
those
he wanted to
things.
have fun.
It can be both of those things equally, but he's never minced words in saying that he does what he does to get paid. If he didn't, he'd go back to working on robots, right? Like, what? This is the thing. Like, it's the same thing with me. If this stream doesn't start at least paying for itself to be improved, then at some point I'm going to have to start tapering it off, because I'll be like, why don't I just go fishing instead of doing this? Why don't I just, go play with my airplanes instead of doing this? If this is making money, then there's the motivation to continue doing it, to continue improving, to continue moving forward, and all of that. And it's the same thing with Glenn. Glenn right now is mostly, he's working in the industry, right? So being on air is secondary in a lot of ways to him making money using his talents to help other people make money. It's however we can make the money, right? And I make no qualms about. I would really rather just be honest about it and say, yeah, the money is not the most important thing, but it is an important thing, right? We should never lie to ourselves and say that. And it's the same thing in your industry. You don't get up every morning and go make cool artwork for nothing, right? Like, that would be.
That's why I closed down my workshop. That's ultimately what it came down to. It was, and I was stuck in a position of loving what I do at the detriment of myself financially. So that's why I also don't understand these guys getting butthurt over YouTube comments and hating on people. Dude, I've lost so much money from like bad clients, and I knew where they lived, and I grew up a little bit sketchy. So I'm kind of like, I can show up at your house with a baseball bat. But ultimately, if you like grow up and become a better person, you realize that's not going to fix anything. So ultimately, not of a position of weakness, but you just go, you know what, I'm just going to let this go. There's no point in fighting this battle. It's not going to produce a good result. The money's not worth it. Just let it go. So I don't understand everybody getting so butthurt online, especially with these reaction stuff as well. It's like, grow up. Like, life's rough. Things happen. You just get over it.
Yeah.
People like the black and white, and unfortunately, life happens in the gray. And so that's a lot of the drama and everything that the vast majority of viewers, and I said earlier in the chat, and I meant it, with as much love as I can possibly generate. You know who I'm talking about, because if that's you, if you're out there and you're a drama whore, that perpetuates that narrative that you guys are talking about, right? The people that just placate to the drama, you're part of the problem. And but that's also, I'm also enlightened enough to understand that it's a human condition as well, right? This was going on long before there was the internet or anything like that. The internet made it worse because of the anonymous nature. But you could go back to the 70s, and there's a couple of people, sitting on their couch flipping through the big tube TV on the channels, and which channel are they going to stop on? The channel with the train wreck, or the channel with the championship spelling bee for the little kids in school, or the county fair and the livestock show, or something like that? Something that's meaningful and a part of the community, or the drama and the chaos, and that they're going to go for the drama and the chaos. I mean, it's, as long as I can remember, the vast majority of people just do that. And then the other thing is, with the life happening in the gray, is you get this back and forth that starts going on. And I see it all the time. Like, there's very, very few creators in my space. I still find a few every now and then I've never heard of, but most, I've got their number. I know them. At least on some level. They may not be friends, but on some level. And you've got all the viewer sees is the product, right? It's the same as watching a movie. I'll probably never meet Brad Pitt, right? Or Chris Pratt. Probably never will, right? I'm not Glenn. But, so the only lens really, unless I might get a chance to listen to him on a radio show or a podcast or some type of interview, but still, I'm being fed that information, right? That's not firsthand interaction to get a feel for that person like I can if I meet somebody on the street, right? And so
Yeah.
you get these audiences that'll put certain people up on a pedestal too, and that just emboldens if they're doing the wrong thing, and I don't know all the bad actors in this space, but with Andrew, that encourages Andrew then, because he feels he doesn't deserve that pedestal. And I'm speaking for him, but I think I'm speaking for him correctly. He feels he doesn't deserve that pedestal. He's truly blessed to be where he's at. And I just gauge that through his actions, right? How he's willing to help everybody out there. But, people will put certain ones on a pedestal, and they use that pedestal to further their mission and their cause, right? Other ones see it as an instance to, in a bad way, just siphon off of those people that are putting it on that own. It's a very negative thing, right? And then at some point, you are a slave to those people because you crave that power and money and position.
No, 100%.
That's a great breakdown. That's a great breakdown. I'm going to read this from Arthur Daya. Rush Limbaugh always said he was only an entertainer and always said his goal was to be able to change or charge confiscatory rates for commercial advertising. Yeah, okay. I think that it's I think there are two subjects that really kind of annoy me in this space, and that is that the idea that people who do this are somehow less serious than other people, and sorry, my son had to deliver a cup of ice, so he's angry about it. Angry young man. The people are just unhappy with their lot in life, so they kind of feel the need for some reason to be negative towards everyone else. A lot of times, the most interesting thing is every single time someone does it, they're the ones being honest and truthful. They never feel like they're the ones that are wrong, that they're lying to themselves and to everyone else. I can't possibly be the only person that's noticed that.
No.
I just find it really interesting, and much like Clover Tack has said, I've seen it in the gun space a lot. I've seen it in the car space, especially.
It's everywhere. It's online, period, man. It's everybody retreat to your corner and your clique and your group mentality. Yeah. And misery loves company. And
absolutely,
innately like-minded, like-moral, like-principled, like-charactered people are going to congregate together. It's going to happen. I would say us four here probably agree on, what would you say, 80, 85, 90% of everything we're going to talk about?
Yeah, probably.
Did that happen by accident?
No, I don't agree with Clover Tech at all 100% of the time.
Well, I don't expect a big thumb to agree with me anyway, Glenn.
Honestly,
I'm kidding.
I think that Clover Tack's obsession with 45 is uncalled for.
45 is an amazing recoil impulse, especially in a carbine, but whatever.
Carbine, it's great. I'm talking about
whatever
in its proper place in a handgun.
It's still okay. The recoil impulse still in a handgun is. You agreed to that the other day, so you're full of shit. That's what you are.
I agreed that it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be.
Cope. I said I really like the recoil impulse for you. You're like, I do too. I can go back. I can find the receipts on that. I'm not going to because it's not worth my time.
You should do that. Okay, not worth your time.
You can change what you like and hate in a sentence, and it does not bother me.
Give me Andrew Roll Eyes in the chat. We need Andrew Roll Eyes.
The first time I shot a 45, I was, I think, like 7 or 8, and I did it in a tunnel, and I put it down on like a stand. didn't hold it strong and like tightly enough, and the recoil, it jumped back and hit me right on the forehead and almost knocked me out. And my uncle had quite a laugh.
Yeah. The control for recoil, am I wrong, Grid, is ride the recoil, not fight the recoil.
Yeah, you don't want to fight the recoil. You accept the recoil, and then there comes a point, if you shoot enough, where you get that timing down to where your wrist absorb the recoil and then they relax back in the, and it's a hard thing to try and explain to people because they want to push the gun back down instead of just relaxing the gun back to where it belongs.
Naturally, you want to fight it, right?
Yeah, you want it. Well, you want to be the master of your universe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But
it's
that's
just
the
not
same
going to work
thing.
out well for you.
It's
Sorry?
similar with large caliber rifles as well. I mean, if
Oh,
you, I've did competition shooting when I was a kid as well, and I was shooting, larger calibers. So I also, I mean, even your shoulder, if you don't get into that rhythm of not trying to be dead, like a brick wall,
Mhm.
you're not gonna last the day of shooting. You're gonna be
Yeah.
dead after shots.
Yeah, I had a guy. He was gunsmithing the local gun shop here. I do a lot of help. I help out a lot there too. But anyway, I went in to take care of some things there, and he come out of the room, and he was looking kind of miserable. He's like, "What's up?" He's like, "Oh man, I worked on this rifle. I gotta go shoot it, and I don't want to." And I'm like, "Why not?" He's like, "Oh, it's a 300 Win Mag," and I'm like, "So?" I'm like, "Pull the trigger, baby. Like, what's the problem? Like, you want me to shoot it?" And he's like, "Would you?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, hell yeah, let's
All
go."
day, every day.
So we took it
Yeah.
out back, and I put 5 rounds to it. He goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe how your shoulder and blah blah blah." I said, "Man, I can promise you." I said, "Did it hurt a little?" Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, on a pain scale, it might have been a 1 or maybe a 2. The initial recoil impulse. I said, "But it ain't gonna hurt later. I ain't gonna have a bruise." I said,
Yeah.
"Because I know how to mitigate the recoil on things."
Yeah, it is like Grid said, it's your form, and that's the thing. Like that's why I mentioned it. If you have to go pull a lot of shots on a large caliber, if you're not in form, you're gonna kill yourself. Basically, you're not gonna have a shoulder left at the end of the day.
Right, right. And especially, good Lord, Grid, like 12 gauge all day long on a sporting clays course.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I literally. It's interesting you say that because I was. I think I've told you this before, but most people haven't heard this. I was on the range and I was so I was sighting in a rifle, and I was actually just practicing, right? Because I was going to go do a specific match later, and it was a 300 Winchester short mag, and I load that really hot. It's a 208 grain bullet going 3,007 feet per second, and that's cooking for that heavy a bullet. I mean, I'm just telling you right now, that is moving, and so I happened to be doing this during when all the guys were sighting in their rifles for hunting season, and there's a guy next to me in the booth next to me, and he's got like a 30-06, and of course they're massive shells, right? And
I shot competition 30-06
okay,
as like a 13-year-old.
okay, yeah. So he's sitting there, and he would shoot like 5 of those, and he was just like, wouldn't shoot anymore. I shot 60 rounds. I shot 10. We went down, checked the targets, came back. I shot another 10. Like the 5th or 6th time, I'm sitting there. I've shot all 60 rounds that I had loaded, and I could have gone more. And he had barely shot 20 rounds. And he's looking at me, and he's like, what's the deal? And I'm like, well, first of all, this is like a 13.5-pound rifle, right? Like it's got weight. So it doesn't hammer me. And this goes into that knowledge thing, right? It's just like same as with podcasting or whatever. I have a lot of knowledge about how to make things shoot the way I want them to shoot. I want a heavy. If I'm going to shoot something big and I'm going to shoot it a lot of times, I want a heavy rifle. I'll carry it. I don't care. I will suck it up.
Yeah.
He's shooting and I got a big wide butt pad on it. I've got a good palm swell. I've got, it's on a bipod, and I'm loading into the bipod. All of the things that you need to do to not rattle your teeth every single shot. And I just sat here, shot. He can't believe it. Neither can anybody else, because this thing's like, at that point, it didn't have a can on it. It didn't have a muzzle brake. So this thing is just like rattling the windows everywhere. So, but I have a 308 mountain rifle. It was made by Ruger. It's stainless. The stock is like a razor blade. I mean, that thing is like super thin. I think the whole gun weighs 7.5 pounds or something stupid like that. It's meant for you to be able to carry it for 3 days out in the field and take one shot.
Yeah.
Because if you take more than that, you're going to hate life. I mean, you're just going to hate that gun. And I did. Like, sighting that gun in was just pure agony. And it just hurt so bad. But, it's the way it is. Clovertag knows what I'm talking about. I bet he's got a mountain rifle in his safe somewhere.
Yeah, I may have 1 or 6. Who knows?
He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
It all comes with and that's what I love. That's where I always, with my podcasts, when I start out, if I've never had that guest on before, especially, I always talk about like their gun journey. When did you start? What was it like growing up? All that stuff, because I want kind of a frame of reference, because I don't really, when I bring a guest in, I don't really know a whole lot, intentionally don't know a whole lot about them when I bring them in, because I want the conversation to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
But I want a frame of reference of where they're at on that scale. You know what I mean? Some people come to it late in life. Some people, like you and I mean, grow up with things like that. But, the more you do it, it's just all of those things, you pick it up, and it's just all second nature. Like, you're not even really paying attention to it,
I find
and
it
one
interesting.
day, if you're lucky enough to go to some classes or some things like that, you're like, oh snap, I've always done it like that. Now I know why it works.
Well, even things like making a selection, right? Like if I'm going to go out and I'm going to be out in the field for a day or two, or I'm on an ATV or or something like that, I'm going to take the heaviest gun I can get my hands on. If I'm going to be walking, I'm taking I don't want to hump all that way. And just even what I carry with me, like if I take the 6.5 Creedmoor with me, by the time I put a can on it and all the other stuff, I'm not taking 30, 40 rounds of ammo. I'm going to take 5 rounds. That's it. Because I'm not going to take more than 5 shots.
Yeah.
At anything. Yeah. And why would I? Why would I need more than that? I only actually need 2. One in case I miss, or if I need to finish off up close, and 3 in case I have to signal for help. That's why I need 5 rounds.
Yeah, have you guys, I'm not sure which one it is, but seen the elephant and buffalo rifles that the guys this side use?
Oh,
I think, I don't know if it's a 4.58. Not sure if that's the one. I think it might be a bigger one than the 4.58.
Yeah,
there's some really weird guns that they shot.
There are a bunch of those
big game with.
You got what, 458 Winchester, and then there's is there a
475. There's 475 H. Is it H&H? And there's 475 Weatherby, or 470 Weatherby. Mm-hmm. I think 470 Weatherby is like, it's literally like a 50 caliber machine gun round. That's just like
almost, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's like a 45-70, only like twice as big or something.
Yeah, and they've got the my buddy has a 416 ShyTac, mm-hmm. and which I guess they've renamed that, or they've got another version of that out that's even hotter. That it literally, it puts things down at like a mile.
Yeah, those are sweet rifles, man. Or those sweet cartridge too.
Yeah. So it's interesting because speaking of the safari world, have you ever read books by a fellow named Capstick?
Me?
Peter Capstick. Have you ever heard of Peter Capstick?
No.
So he was a stockbroker in the U.S. back in the 30s or 40s, somewhere along in there, and he just got tired of it, got bored, and he decided that he was going to go to Africa and become a big game guide, and he literally hunted everything in Africa.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he became a guide, and he wrote a bunch of books. He wrote a book called his name is Peter Hathaway Capstick. He wrote a book called Man Eaters about lions. He wrote a book about, I mean, he's written a lot of books about Death in the Long Grass is about lions. Man Eaters is about everything else that'll kill you in Africa. A bunch of other things that he was I guess fortunate enough to be aware of. And he was one of those like beloved guides that, all of his beaters and everybody, they all loved him. And so it was, but you got to read his books, man. They're crazy. He literally goes into detail about how the lions preferred to kill the natives by going into their grass huts, and there's a special way that they bite down on the head that kills you instantly, and then they drag you out into the bush.
Yeah, it's weird. The lions here in Africa tend to do that, but what's even worse is people think the lions aren't the worst one we have. The worst one we have are the hyenas, because hyenas are the biggest like trash bags in the animal kingdom. What they would actually do is they are more inclined than the lions to go into camps and even normal houses. So if you have a farm or something, what they do is they go inside the house and they find the kids. They go for the children. Because they're cowards. They're cowards, so they also steal from lions. So, but their proclivity is they'll move around adults if they know there's children, and they'll go specifically for the kids, and they also take them out of their beds.
Yeah, that's coyotes are that way here to an extent. I mean, we don't have an issue of them going into houses and stuff like that. But when you're talking about livestock, right, they're going to take the young, which a lot of other big predators are going to take the biggest piece of chicken, right? They're going to go for the biggest piece of meat a lot of times.
Well, the thing that makes it worthwhile, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video of the guys, the coyote coming after this guy's little dog? And the guy literally comes out in his night robe and slippers into his yard. And this coyote's like biting at him. He grabs the coyote by his tail, picks it up, and puts it in a trash bin.
Yeah, that was good. I saw that.
That's a great video, man. That's just like, and he's just so nonchalant about it too. He's like, put it in the bin.
Yeah, I've also seen guys that are crazy this side as well, with like dangerous snakes. Just grab them by their tail and just quick swing and hit them on the ground and throw them away and walk on. I'm like,
right.
Why would you do that? Why would you even touch that snake? They just grab them.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
Glenn's actually working right now. Glenn's being productive, so we have to get him off topic and task.
Oh, Glenn doesn't want to join. We need to get back on topic now.
Yeah, we're off topic. He wants to talk about something else, I'm sure.
You're welcome.
That's all right.
I'll take that W. You're welcome.
You take the
I
W.
like the gun talking the animals though.
The clip of a bear crashing guy. Yes. Yeah. So there's another video of this bear that like comes up in this guy's yard during they're having a party or something. And the bear's like just sitting down in the middle of it, like he wants a beer or something. They tell him to leave, and he's not leaving. And the guy's like holds the gate open, is like, get out, get out, get out, get out. And the bear ambles over and then takes a swipe at him and nips at him. And the guy like, keeps motioning out, and the bear goes on the other side, and the guy closes the fence, and he makes it look, he's all nonchalant about it, like nothing happened. but his pants were ripped, and I'm pretty sure he had some pretty good bruises from where that bear smacked him. So yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah. So man versus bear.
Yeah.
Give Glenn some crayons and a coloring book. He's good to go. Apparently so, because he's been sitting there really quiet. He's better than my 3-year-old.
Doesn't he have power now?
I don't know if he has. I'm assuming he has power since he's sitting there doing that, but or since he's in the chat, he may not have his speakers on, or he may have lagged out. I don't really know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. So, what kind of are you working on a film now, Chris? What are you doing now?
It's actually so no, I had my workshop, but so I worked in film, but I was the guy making stuff. So it gets complex when people ask me what I do. But then had my own workshop, but I did work for architects, chefs that are like chocolatiers, making molds for them, architectural stuff. KTM did prototyping new oil filters for them. I did like pretty much anybody who would pay me for molds or to figure out how to make something for them, I did.
Are you doing metal molds, or are you doing fiberglass, or what kind of molds?
Well, I don't really like to talk about it because I kind of stopped doing it, but I'm actually a master mold maker. So I pretty much had to have understanding of everything: silicone, fiberglass, concrete, ceramics, glass, metal. I worked with foundries. Pretty much anything that some crazy person wanted to make, I know how to do it.
That is sick.
Yeah, but it became a thing of where like it's physical labor, dangerous chemicals, power tools, like 14-hour days every day, 7 days a week. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. I always say I'm too dumb to have a smart person job. So I kind of shut down my workshop, and now I have another business. I'm doing. So yeah, if film work comes my way, I'll take it on. I have some friends, like I said, that's working on a live action anime series movie that's happening this side for One Piece. Some people might know that, but I haven't done a film in about 2 years. The film industry is a little bit evil. I'm sure Glenn can attest, but we'll probably chat about that. But
the film industry has always been evil. It's like the news industry. It's interesting that people in this country believe that the news at any given point that the news was like an honorable business. It's never has been. Like, they've never told the truth ever. That's not what they do.
Yeah, and like I also told Glenn, with us, we don't have unions or anything. So people always think, wow, the film industry is cool because we do cool stuff. But at the end of the day, they may pay you decently. But if they pay you and you sign that contract and all the NDAs, they own you. If they, at the end of the day, say they want something tomorrow, you're not going home. You're not going home. And it's obviously not that thing of, they lock the doors, but you leave, you'll never get a phone call again. So you'll be fucked. Yeah, you understand the implication of we want it tomorrow. So you don't sleep, you work.
Yeah.
You don't want to be bitching. So yeah, you're basically a prostitute. So yeah, they pay you well, but they own you.
Without getting a dick in your ass, though.
Yeah.
I used to say that about when people would ask me, what was owning a race team like? How did I make money and all that? And I'd be like, well, there's really not much difference between me and a hooker. We both provide a reasonable time or a good time at a reasonable cost with no promise of performance. So it's what it is. There's no guarantee that you'll do well. It's just
and you perform really fast.
Huh? You perform really fast. Yeah, we show up, we show out. It's the same thing. But Glenn is alive. What's up, Glenn?
Nothing. Just listening.
Why don't you add to the conversations, sir?
What do y'all want to talk about?
Did you learn anything? If you listened, but did it absorb, Glenn? That's the question.
Clover, you're asking way too many serious questions right now.
Like actual questions.
Do I need to grunt it for you, Glenn? Is that what I need to do?
Like I'm doing like 4 things at once right now. I'm like sending stuff to Grid through Discord and working on stuff for Andrew, and then yeah.
And I 100% believe that statement because it came from Glenn.
Yes.
Grid doesn't even know how to unmute a mic, though. So
Wait,
And
you-
you know what? Like
you
I gotta
wouldn't-
do a freaking voiceover too. Dang it.
You mean you wouldn't believe that statement if it came from me?
you, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I
All
don't know.
right. I see how it is.
I
What's
don't-
up, JC Garcia? How are you?
Arthur
Yeah.
Diet, I do not have an emotional support cat. It's called my emotional support pussy. Get it right.
So your girlfriend, wife,
She's my wife.
Wife?
But
wife.
you know, every once in a while I'll make her put a wig on and pretend that she's my girlfriend.
Heck yeah.
So pretty much every guy that's married has an emotional support cat.
Yes.
Let's
The thing is that they actually, most men need an emotional support cat for their emotional support cat.
Oh, he said it out loud. Glenn, we talked about this, man. Not out loud, bro. Not out loud.
Well, they're mad that their emotional support cat is not giving them any emotional support, let alone anything else.
True.
That's why you have dogs
True.
for that. Cats
That's
don't
true.
give love like that.
Man, that's
Remember, Grid? Remember I told you, like, you know, women should allow men have their runner-up in the, you know, on the bench, just in case they're, you know, they wanted to, you know what I mean?
you know what I really like lately is how many people label me a red pill podcast when I repeatedly like
Well, because you talk about
anti-red
the
pill.
whammon.
I do talk about the whammon. But
Grid, you playboy being married and having kids and a family. You're so red
I know.
Your club on the
I
weekend.
know.
hanging
It's
out with
very
other
interesting.
men.
I really thought that it was a joke. I honestly thought people were joking, but they're not. Like
You
no, you're red
people-
pill, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Why would I be red pill? That's dumb. Like, why would you think I'm red pill? That's more dumb. So
Yeah, whenever I see something I don't understand, you just have to you do like a little blocked like a home math chart, then it usually ends up with, oh yeah, people are dumb. Okay. I got it. Figure it out.
that's right. You know, I'm old enough now that I should honestly, I should just automatically default to that.
I see Anson Grid. Anson said you need to pray for him to that he survives. He's got 4 dates with I'm hoping females this week.
Grid is I'm the number 1 red pill podcast. Wow, that's unexpected.
You're gonna be on a list for too long.
Grid, you need
I'm
to
going to be on a.
ask him
I'm on a.
who-
I'm already on enough list. I don't need. Honestly, I don't know that there's any more room for me to be on any more lists.
Yeah.
Grid One, if you're the number 1 Red Bull podcast, where's the connotation of the number 1 Red Bull podcast money at? You should ask him that.
I would love that. Well, see, they don't say
Where's
that
the-
I'm the number 1 red pill podcast. They're just like, well, you're obviously a red pill podcast.
Yeah.
I am.
Grid has no course. That's the difference. Grid's got to get a course. That's the whole thing nowadays with fucking creators and making money. Is you got to have a course. You gotta build a course.
I gotta teach you something. Here, let me teach you something. This is I'm going to give you all my course for free. Don't be
Yeah.
a fucking idiot. Okay, there you go.
Right.
That's-
I know 5.
It was well worth the no money you spent for it. Yeah, that's funny. So
I'm going to make a course that teaches people what courses not to fall for. That's what I'm going to do.
Ooh.
That's a good
That's
course.
a growth industry.
And for anybody out there interested, jump over on my website. It's only $999 today only. So
Yeah,
Per
how
month.
to delineate between which courses are shit.
the answer to that is all of them are pretty much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, Greg, I think you're missing out. We need to get you a course up, a male improvement course.
A what improvement course?
Male improvement.
A
It's
male
gotta be about
improvement.
men being.
How do I
being
improve
shit.
the male? They're female postmen now, so you can't improve it. It can only continue to get worse.
Oh, and then does it ever suck too? It's gonna
Yeah,
be
that's
it's
your-
gonna be to
your-
the point here that you're not gonna be able to have a post office. They're never open here.
That's funny. That's funny as fuck. Man,
I
you
like
guys
that
are
name.
awesome. Look, hold on. Where is it? My course is at You Are Stupid.
Like,
That's fucking lit.
org. You're a
That's
nonprofit
it.
on top of it, Grid. You're an org.
Look,
I
this-
also saw the name "Don't be stupid, dumbass, and get off my lawn." That's also a good one.
Don't be stupid, dumbass. All right, get off my lawn. Grid's course. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. Just make sure to double down and yeah, I gotta link it on Discord, bro. That's funny, man. Version 2 of the course. That's dumb. Don't do that.
The final would be like do this or something, wouldn't it? To
That's
graduate.
awesome. That's awesome. It's funny because
Dumb
it's
and
true.
dumber course.
It's funny because it's true. You feel like you're watching King of the Hill? Who's Boomhauer?
Clover tax Boomhauer.
Probably.
Clover Tax Boomhauer?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, Greg, you're Hank though.
I'm Hank.
Yeah.
I deal in profanity and profanity accessories.
Patriarchy and patriarchy.
I deal in patriarchal and patriarchy accessories.
What are
Now you got me.
what
Now
are
you got me
patriarch
curious.
accessories?
You got me curious now. What a patriarchal accessory is.
It's asking. It's logical questions.
Yeah, that'll work. Lord.
Chris is Dale. Chris doesn't have enough guns to be Dale. Plus, he's not married to a woman cheating with a native that I'm aware of. What needs to be my motto when I get my merch shop going? I do need to get that going.
Yeah, Greg, I wanted to say, do you have a merch shop? You need to have a.
I'm working on it. My problem is artist. I don't know if you've ever met artists, but their idea of timelines and communication not the same as mine.
My clients used to be artists. It's a bit of a nightmare.
That's funny. It's true though. It is true. That's funny. Michigan Christian went to the training website. All that's there is a message that says it's bugged, boys. It's bugged. It's not working, boys. It hasn't worked for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking A. That's great.
He actually did not say that. That was it. The last one that he did last night. I about fell out of my chair because he did not fucking say that. And if you looked, they actually didn't do, what is it called, a super sub or a prime sub? He actually
Yeah.
hadn't had a Prime sub in like 31 minutes when he brought it up. And I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. It's Bug Boy.
Here we go.
Because it's
Here we
like
go,
31.
boys.
It was
Here we
like
go.
31 minutes, right? Because I've seen him do it
But-
with like 2 minutes. Like, we ain't got a Prime sub in like 2 minutes, boys. Bug Boys. It was 31 minutes.
But-
I'm like, here we go. And he didn't fucking say it. I was so disappointed.
Did you see that Andrew spoke about it on his live stream? And I think Brian like donoed. So he might have been in chat when all of the Bug Boys was going down. So that might have been why he was a little bit like off of it.
Yeah. Oh, he went. Oh, he
I
got
think he
you.
caught the
That's what it
hint.
was. He got you. That's funny. It's great though. It's interesting because there's so many people out there in the world that just don't know how to have fucking fun. So this was a totally unplanned stream. I don't have a subject. I don't have a deep topic to talk about. I don't want to talk about a deep topic. I just, let's just shoot the shit. And maybe we'll have a conversation at some point. But honestly, just kind of fucking off is not a bad thing. It's cool. The patriarchy is bugged, boys. It is.
That's true.
Agreed.
It's bugged.
That's true.
Too many feminists out there, boys. Got to do something about that, boys.
The feminists are breaking the internet, boys.
Yeah. Everyone's teased Brian about it. Literally everybody. Yeah. But it's bugged, boys, is not going away. I don't care. That's not going away. That's a thing. That's a thing.
You're
now.
welcome.
It's like Andrew's Australia jokes. It's just gonna be a thing.
It's just gonna keep going. Mr. Lawrence is on a be right back. So everybody leave him alone. That and the lint roller. You sent me a funny video on Discord. Yeah, I saw that. I just can't I can't listen to it while I'm in the middle of hosting the show. It's rude. I have to do something like, hey, Clovertack, talk for I gotta get Clovertack talking for like on one of his rants where he goes for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then I can watch it. But I haven't been able to do that. And now I'm not gonna be able to because he knows what I'm trying to do.
Shit, what would Clover ever fucking talk about forever? I don't know. What could that be?
Well, we could pick like one of 8 subjects, and how about the rabbits in your yard?
I don't touch the rabbits in my yard. That's my apocalyptic livestock. Fuck that. I take care of my rabbits in my yard, man, around my property. Why? I'll give.
Bunny pies are good.
I've said this before, but for those that may not have heard it, the reason is they're not fucking with anything. I don't need them currently to eat. And if anything ever happened, I could trap them. And you know how rabbits breed. So I would forever have pretty good tasting meat. You know what I mean? You could feed them
The only problem is they don't have enough fat. So you can't sustain yourself just on the rabbits.
There's plenty of pigs, bro. Plenty of wild pigs.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Texas.
We're good. Yeah.
He's in Texas. He's got no problems.
Yep.
Yeah, but the pigs breed even more than the rabbits, so you're fine either way.
Yeah, but pigs require a whole lot more to domesticate, when you trap, whatever. So it would be more like hunting the pigs as needed type thing. And then because there's not much hunting for them. Any given night I can go out and we could go out and shoot 50 in the face tonight, and tomorrow night see that many or more. So it's not like it's difficult.
Yeah.
But valid point.
You
do have to have that balance, or long term anyway. You need to have a balanced diet.
But do you when you guys go shoot the wild hogs, do you cook them up?
Most of the time, no. For me, because they're such a nuisance at this point. With good Lord, it may be in the billions at this point in damage. I don't even know, but it's certainly millions upon millions every year in damage that they cause. So, and like you said, they breed so fast. They can have 2 litters a year, right? Up to, and they can within a year, I think they can start breeding even, if memory serves. So,
Yeah, but
yeah,
no, I
they're
think it's even quicker because most animals can breed within a year. Even dogs can.
well. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it's like 6 months or something. It's pretty quick,
Yeah.
and then they can have 2 litters a year. So I mean, it doesn't take long. So I can. I mean, I've got my baby brother. He traps. He hunts with dogs, and he's just into the whole dog hunting thing. He trains dogs too, but and then he'll catch a fucking kill a couple, and he'll bring them in. He'll pin them up, and he'll feed them out. He'll do some things like that. Uh, but if you're talking about just for survival purposes, like I said, there's so many around. You don't got to worry about it. But no, back to your question. I got off on a tangent. Imagine that. Um, no, most of the time when we go out, most of the landowners, um, or if the property here, I usually circle of life, man. It just shoot them in the face, pile them up, be done. Now, if I do want one to put in the freezer, right? Um, I'll usually go out specifically with that intent, not with buddies, just to have fun. And I'll just go out by myself, and I'll pick a sow that's, try to get me a sow that's no more than, I don't know, maybe 120 pounds or so. You know,
Mm.
they're easy to deal with. They're not nasty. To me, it's the best tasting.
Mm.
And so I'll usually do that. But like I said, there's no reason to, I can go out any given night, honestly, and do that. So it's one of the things where you get into it really heavy. I used to be I was in it really heavy, and sometimes we would go out 3-4 nights a week, and then it got to the point it's like, man, I can go out when it's kind of like the people that a good analogy is my daughter did that. My oldest daughter moved away from here and moved to Florida, so they could be on the beach and da da da. That lasted like a fucking year, and because the beach
Mm.
was like right next door, it didn't take them any time. They didn't give a shit about the beach anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. I'm also
it's kind of
by
gotten
the
that.
beach, and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of
whenever
gotten that
people
way with
come and
me.
visit, they always ask, why don't you go to the beach? And it's like, yeah, well, if you live by the beach, it loses the charm of going to the
Right.
beach.
Yeah, yeah. And there's always people out there in the chat, and you're always talking around. Oh man, I'd really love to go hunt some pigs or whatever. And I'm like, come down, we'll go, but it's not a big deal for me anymore. You know.
Yeah, we have there's a couple of flocks of turkey around my
Nice. We don't have
neighborhood.
any of those here.
We got wild
That's
turkeys in the
that's good.
neighborhood, and then we've got deer. Yeah, I could literally just walk out of my neighborhood, and like if we were in a survival situation where the world went to shit, I could literally walk down to the corner, climb up on the roof of the building, and shoot all the deer I wanted.
Yeah.
So it'd
This
be
is the same
easy, be
here. Yeah,
easy.
it's the same here. Now we don't have.
I'm gonna watch this, Clover.
Okay, let's see.
No, got to hit play. Sorry. Got to hit play on the right screen.
That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but
That's hilarious.
Awesome. That was awesome. That was truly, truly great. Where's my button here? There we go. That was great. God, that was awesome.
You gonna do that for us now, Grid? Reenact that?
No, but I can see Brian doing that. It's fucking fucked.
It's bugged, boys. It's fucking bugged, boys. Fuck this shit.
That is so awesome, man. That was so great. We'll do it live. I can literally see Brian doing that. I think you just don't understand the level of OCD that Brian has. You just don't.
Grid.
Yeah.
We need you to go on whatever. That'll to boost the channel and go grift there a little bit. That'll solve some of the finances for the channel. I think we need Grid One to go grift on Brian's channel, and then
I think I have a plan. All
right.
So I talked to somebody that is much more experienced in these matters than I am. And he gave me some really sound advice. about, because I was like, hey, how do I get on these channels, and how do I make it, how is it that I can get to that next level? Because I haven't stalled. I still get subs. I still, I'm out there, I'm moving, I'm shaking.
Yeah.
But how is it that I move from the next level? Right. And he's like, well, you need to go get on other, get on other channels, and you need to be really careful about the channels you do get on. Like last night, I explained very carefully that I'm not really sure that going on whatever does me any good at all. Because whatever is a dating podcast, and it's really got its own audience, and I just don't know that it actually does me any good, right? Because the people I don't know that I would gain a lot from what it would take me to get on it. But there are other podcasts that are more in the realm in which I operate, and the way that I, the shows that I do. And he's like, hey man, let me give you a tactic that will probably work. And so he told me, and I'm like, holy fuck, you're right. That would probably work. And so I have been trying that. Now I have a really good guest coming on next week. I have been on new podcasts with far more reach. I was on Chaotic Truth twice this week. Just walk on, just that he had me up, and they were great. They were great appearances, and those shows will do far more for my audience over time. Shows like Chaotic Truth, shows like Hypnotic, if I can get on there. Rob Noor would help, going on Rob Noor and interviewing him. All of these other shows. And, I went on with DBH the other day.
Hey Chris, did you check your Discord?
No, I saw you send me a message, but I haven't checked.
Yeah.
Should I check it now?
And so it's, there's not a clear pathway forward, but I have directionality to where I'm pondering each move and saying, well, if I go on Chaotic Truth once a week or twice a week, and I say good things, and I build a rapport with his audience. He's got 10,000 people. He normally has 500-600 people live. If I can pull a couple of those people over to become members here and get them talking about me in other podcasts, that's great. The same thing if I go to Rob Noor. And I say, hey, Rob, I want to come on. I want to talk with you. I want to talk to you about your debate style. I just want to have a good conversation. I don't need to debate you. I just want to have a good conversation with you and see, maybe discuss some issues and where you stand on these issues or whatever. Then, and I get, he's got 15,000 or so subs. If I can get, some of his guys come over here, and I just get a little bit from many different places. And once I have, a little bit larger base, then I'm hitting the algorithm to where then it generates, and instead of pulling from other audiences, then it pulls, people that are looking for things like my show, but I'm not necessarily pulling from the Crucible. I'm not pulling for Rob Noor. I'm not pulling from Chaotic. I'm pulling new blood into my show. This is how it has to happen. Because
but I want to interject though with the whatever, because firstly, I saw your comments on whatever all the time, and you became like a legend in the chat. But I didn't know you had a channel, Greg. Firstly, so that's a thing, and a lot of those people already know you, so you're a part of the law. and where Andrew is more that I'm going to show you why you're wrong and the flaws in your whole way of living. You can go in as the dad figure, because Lord knows those girls need a father most of it. And you can go in as that role. Just give them like some nice fatherly advice and tell them.
I am a legend, but if I go on the show, I think you're right. I am
legendized.
I'm sorry?
Go on the show, you're legendized.
It doesn't.
Why?
But it may not be
I'm
the
kidding.
same
I'm
way,
kidding.
Right? Then I become like this dad figure. I don't know that I want to be a dad figure too much, you know.
I have kids. I'm a dad, but I don't really want to be a dad figure.
Well, I don't want to go on there and be like,
be
oh yeah,
their
Rick one's just
I
this
get it.
dad dude. Who cares? What does he listen? It's just I get where you're coming from, and that will happen. Look, I'm not saying I won't. I just feel like that they're short term. There are things that I can do that pay off better than trying to get on to whatever.
Yeah.
The problem with going on to whatever is, for me to do a remote there, I just don't see how the remote pays off for me. Right.
Yeah, I think you need to go in person, but saying that the audience wouldn't relay. I mean, everybody loves Andrew, and I mean, you are part of the law. There's multiple reasons why I do think it won't be a waste going on, but definitely that strategy.
I don't think it's a waste. I'm just looking at the things that pay off the most.
Yeah. No, cultivating a direct audience from channels that are similar to yours is definitely, I think, a better strategy, though.
So the going on something like whatever, the benefit of that doesn't have to do with channel growth from my perspective here. It would have to play into your social proof and your authority, which is important for growing a channel. We talked about this earlier with the reaction people that don't know shit about what they're fucking reacting to, and then people that are talking about stuff that they have some authority in, right? So I think that type of thing helps with that more so than the growth. Your tactics you were talking about earlier, finding similar vein channels and things like that, podcasts to go on. I think that is where that's where the growth can potentially take place.
But Grit, also you shouldn't underestimate yourself, because I've listened to you do debates and stuff, dude. You'd be funny as hell, because they're gonna say some dumb stuff and you're gonna have solid rebuttals just to destroy, and everyone's gonna laugh their asses off. I promise you that.
I'm really trying to dumb down my debate style to make it more online friendly, because my debate style, as you've seen with everybody, is just the minute they say something stupid, I'm like, shut the hell up. You can't say that. You're wrong. And you know you're wrong. So why are we even talking anymore? And so and so if you look at someone like Andrew leads them down the primrose path, and he gets two solid hours out of debating somebody, where I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes. As a matter of fact, I've had people literally quit in 2 sentences.
Yeah.
And I don't, and I'm like, fuck, that's a letdown.
Andrew just keeps giving rope, right? He's so patient with it.
Yeah.
And he just keeps giving rope and keeps giving, and the next thing you know, they've hung themselves. And it's like,
he grants them stuff, and then he leads them down that dark corridor where they eventually hit the bottom.
Well, couple of minutes, and he builds a logic dropping box. Nukes after like 2 minutes. Like, he's done.
Andrew builds the logic box. They wander into it, the unsuspecting rabbit. They wander into the logic box. He shuts the fucking door, and they go jack shit crazy, right? And they just spurg out, and it's beautiful to watch. It really is. Yeah. I just don't have the patience for that.
You'd also be good on Jim Bob's channel, Greg. You should sometime go chat to Jim Bob as well.
Jim Bob's channel, and again, that's I agree, and actually, Angel Berber just said everything I said is Rob Noor, Chaotic, DPH, The Crucible, Jim Bob. Yeah,
it'd be cool also if you do a debate with somebody on Crucible. I think that would also be a good one.
I've kind of debated Corinth before, but he's not always good faith. So he's a cool dude. I think he meant to be good faith. It just wasn't really. We really didn't debate much, whereas it wasn't a debate. It was like debate adjacent. You didn't notice a different approach this afternoon? No, there isn't a different approach. Arthur Dye, I don't have a different approach. I have thermonuclear warfare. I have pleasant me and world-ending destruction. There's no. I'm trying really hard. I just can't get there.
Nice.
But I do beat you over the head with facts. That's the best thing is I just beat you over the head with facts.
No, you just like beating people over the head.
Either way, facts are the best though. They hit the hardest and it hurts so bad.
Well, with the facts, they can't come back at you.
I mean, they try, but
the thing is, I have realized you do get certain, like you said, the debate techniques. You can do the one of completely shutting them down and basically Sparta kicking them into the hole, or you can do the more complex thing that Andrew does, which ultimately, if you're actually trying to help somebody and not just destroy them, does entail leading them down that rabbit hole of the logic trap.
Yeah.
And it obviously, if you're wanting longer debates, that is definitely the way to do it.
Well, and the way Andrew does it too, it's for an audience. It's peeling away the layers of the onion and exposing that person too.
Yes, see, that's the thing is I'm not. I need to understand that I'm in front of an audience, and I need to make it entertaining for the audience, and not just for me. And that's. And I'm getting better about it. Like when I moderated the debate with Glenn and Beans, I called Beans out many times about, he kept trying to steer the topic off topic and into a realm that had been agreed upon before the debate that they weren't going to go into. And Glenn, the problem is Glenn would just follow him down that path because Glenn just wanted to beat him. And I kept having to say, no, this, look, back on topic. Beans, you can't say that because X, Y, and Z, back on topic. And so that actually helped out a lot. But I really, and I probably should debate a little more. But I'm a conversationalist, man. I just like to have really good conversations. Some of them can be heated. I don't mind heated conversations. Obviously, look at Arthur Dye. Arthur Dye today got super heated because she was.
I don't even know what happened with the drama. What everybody was talking about. I'm blissfully unaware.
You're blissfully unaware. Did you not watch it, or you weren't here?
No. What? I didn't even know what happened or where what happened.
So it started out with the Arthur Dye was talking about the internment of the Japanese during World War II. And she was saying it was a terrible thing. And I said, well, it wasn't a terrible thing because there were two reasons for that. The first and major reason was to protect the Japanese from American citizens who were losing their brothers, children, father, all, losing the men in the war. And it just would not have gone over. I mean, look, it just would have been dangerous. And it wasn't just the Japanese that were imprisoned not in prison, but interned, by the way. It was also Chinese. Anyone that looked Asian was interred because of the danger to their person. And also the fact that they might have been a spy. They could have been a bad actor. Although most the thing that and she kept kind of saying that no, it wasn't for their safety, but the reality is it definitely was. Most of the paperwork that survives lends to that. Plus, a lot of the Japanese actually ended up serving in the U.S. military as interpreters, as as soldiers in the war. So that's it wasn't a good argument. And she just, I don't know, what is that? You like, what are you playing with there? I keep seeing it pop up on the camera. Is that like
me?
Yeah. Is that like a whip or is that your dog?
Oh, that's the cat's tail. The cat is sitting here next to me on my work table. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is he playing with there? I thought it's a cat. All right.
Yeah, it's the cat. The cat. I have an old cat that's chilling with me. It's from my previous relationship.
Cats are cool. Yeah, Arthur Dye is a good sport because even when she knows she's wrong, she'll just stick to it and doesn't just roll over. So,
Oh wow.
but yeah, but at the end of the day, it so that started it, and then we somehow and I kept telling her that you cannot look at history through the modern lens. When you do that, history falls apart, and it just always looks worse than it is. And so one of the things that automatically the next thing that anybody that is going to argue with you about that will bring up is slavery in the American in the America pre-Civil War America. And so she brought that up, and I'm like, so we had a whole entire discussion that was about an hour and a half long on that. And, of course, she not only has to talk about the slavery, but how it has disadvantaged blacks up until this day, which is incorrect and wrong because, as we can easily see looking back in from the period post Civil War, from about 1906, 1903, 1906 up until probably 1948, 49, somewhere along in there, which is post World War I and World War II. The blacks had it really good and had, they had their own banks, they had the Black Wall Street, they had their own schools, they actually had a really great life and were probably better off globally than they are today, and which she argued about. She said that wasn't the case, which would continuously prove that it was. And then, which of course the only thing that she could say about that is, well, segregation, they had to have their own bathrooms, blah, blah, all this stuff. But again, I don't know that was I don't know that had anything to do with anything, right? Like
Arthur Dye was just virtue signaling for her black king. So she was putting herself on the market and letting all the black guys know that, she wants to be wifey.
So it is virtue signaling to some point, but it's more that you're basically saying that in this specific context that you're removing the responsibility, in post Civil War, after the Reconstruction. So we're talking like 1903, not 1963 to 1900, but like 1900, 1903, somewhere along in there, post Reconstruction, going into what we consider the modern world, right before World War I. Blacks literally had a massive push forward in all aspects of life, and there's reasons that they fell apart, right, in modernity, but just looking back then, they really didn't have any problems. And they had their own schools, so what? They had their own churches, so what? Why was it? This was never a problem until white people made it a problem in the 1950s and 60s. And then, of course, we had desegregation and all of the things that we've had since then. So the civil rights movement actually is what really started the downfall of the black culture in America, and which has led to the destruction of black culture in America, to the point now to where we have the black society and culture is in ruins. They have such a huge problem with their families, which is wrong because, traditionally black families were exceedingly close. They had very large families. They were very productive. They were for the time, for the age, they were well educated. They were honest. They were good people. And all of that has changed in modernity, and that can honestly be traced right back, right to the point of the civil rights acts in the
Specifically,
19.
But
Lyndon.
what's actually
Oh, I'm
Johnson.
sorry.
funny about
What was
this?
that? What was that, Clover Tech? I couldn't hear you.
I said specifically Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lyndon B.
But
Johnson was
what
the enemy of the black.
Mm-hmm.
But what's
So-
interesting is that because we still had segregation till so late. I mean, a lot of people know the whole apartheid thing in South Africa. So I grew up with a lot of the older black generation that actually was living with the segregation and stuff, and heard a lot of stories where, so I'm not saying everyone, but I heard stories from a lot of them that ended up saying, you know, they feel like things were better back then because especially the guys that lived on farms, they lived on a farm, worked on the farm, but they got land, they got a house. They got all of these like advantages that people don't, you know. I mean, it obviously depends who you worked for at the time, but some of them had cattle, they had farms, their families lived on the farm. They basically said we had better lives then than we do now.
Mhm.
And it's sometimes I think a lot of people don't actually engage with people and actually have these discussions, which was pretty interesting for me when I was young, as that generation was still alive to speak about it.
Well, voluntary segregation still happens today,
It's
right?
everywhere. That's
And
everywhere.
so,
And that's
and
a good
it,
thing as well.
the whole idea of segregation, and I agree, there shouldn't be any forced segregation, obviously, but
Yes.
we've gotten into a time in modernity where people are so everything needs, DEI, whatever, everything needs to be desegregated, and it's like, well, you're robbing people of
Bullshit.
exactly what we talked about earlier. You're robbing people of building their communities and extended
Communities, yeah.
families of like-minded, people that have things in common. And unfortunately,
Yes.
race plays a role into that sometimes, not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. And there is so Glenn used a term earlier, which is accurate, and that is segregation versus separation. And for decades, and I mean decades, from like the 40s all the way up into the 60s, and I hate to use the term average black, but the average black actually wanted to have separation. They didn't want to be in white neighborhoods. They had their own neighborhoods for a reason. They had their own schools because they wanted it that way. It wasn't that they couldn't do different things. That's what they wanted. Arthur Daya maintains, and she is still maintaining, because when the slaves were free, they had no job skills. Well, there were no other jobs to have, right?
Yeah. It was all like labor or doing physical labor work.
Yeah, and Arthur Dye is still laboring under the mistaken idea or thought process that blacks weren't trained as blacksmiths, which is wrong. That they absolutely were. They were trained.
Yeah, they had to be trained in multiple skills because
you had to. I mean, they were trained to in all aspects of the farm. It wasn't just that they were stuck in the fields all day, every day. That's not how a farm works. And this shows the ignorance of people who have never done any research, any actual research in anything, into how a farm works.
On farms or how any of it works, because you can't just do one thing on a farm. That's stupid.
Right.
They don't understand.
You don't plant or reap every day.
Well, and it went outside even
seasons.
Even farm operations to Arthur Dye and her profession. There were slaves that were medically trained. Why?
They had to be,
so they could help treat the other slaves, because that's what made the farm work.
Yeah.
Right,
so
because
they literally had medical training.
Right, because the mistress of the house, sure, she might be the one that's in charge of making sure that everyone has proper health care, but that doesn't mean that she is the person administering that.
Right.
She's going to teach 5, 6, 7 other women on that farm how to do it. And this is the fallacy that we run into pretty constantly with all of this, is just that we can't it's not real. It's not the real thing.
and it's very dependent, and the thing is why I always say segregation is a good thing. It's the same thing. If black dudes had a
you're literally talking to a man who has lived through segregation, and he's telling you
you're talking to a real African.
Right?
Yes,
Arthur, come on now, he's a real African from Africa.
Knows what he's talking about. So again, I'm going to read this. If you're a blacksmith trained slave and suddenly freed, you don't have the resources to buy your own equipment. You don't know math or business practices.
You were just complaining about not having a skill. You were just complaining about them not having a skill, but other than picking cotton, and then now you're moving the goalpost.
So a white man back in the day that wanted to become a blacksmith, what did they do? They apprenticed. And here's the thing, they were
like anybody else, dude.
They were completely green and went to apprentice to then move on and get their equipment and get all their other stuff.
Yeah,
a freed slave that was already a blacksmith, already trained, to somebody that was looking for an apprentice would be extremely valuable because they already knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, what they don't understand is, especially with doing a blue collar job, because I know as well, if I walked into a place that sprays cars, I have sprayed a lot of props and stuff to do it the proper way, but I have no experience. If I went in and said, give me a chance for 2 weeks, I'm going to work here with you guys. If I do good work, can we talk about something, but I'll give you 2 weeks for free. Most people, if you have a good attitude, won't say no to 2 weeks or free labor.
Oh, yeah.
So there's always a way. So, it's not impossible, especially blue collar. And if they see you, they know you know what you're doing and you're not going to be a liability. Big chance you're going to get a job, whether it's a fishing ship or anything that applies.
So, Alfred is talking about like formal education out here, like, oh, they don't know the math or reading or writing or that sort of thing. Have you looked at kids today?
You don't know it now,
write? First of all, like
guys, we have to deal with this first. Slaves were horribly abused, wrong, and forced to work long hours. Everybody worked long hours. That's the stupidest thing literally the stupidest thing I've heard today. Whipped. Honestly, that was a common thing for everybody. Put in chains. I don't know that was true. Iron was very valuable. You might have one pair of chains on an entire farm. I don't know where we are getting this rosy view of slavery. Well, again,
Arthur, you just watched Roots way too many times.
The problem is they highlight the like exceptionally bad cases, but in general, you wouldn't have a group of people working for you that you whipped every day and treated like crap if you didn't have a whole army to look after them. That's like a prison. How would you be one or two wardens with a couple of people working? Your best bet to have good work done would be to treat them as well as possible. So otherwise they would do shit work and want to kill you.
So look at this from a modern lens for just a minute. You've got a plantation. Okay, the idea of slavery and owning another person, horrible. I mean, we pretty much agree on that. Put it on a shelf, we're done. Now, compare a plantation, which is what is a business, right, to a business nowadays. So let's use the same thing where you were growing some type of crop. Are you going to go out there and like jab your tires with knives and drain the oil out of your engines and beat your tractors with a baseball bat? Like, you're not going to do that. That's something you spent money on, right? A piece of equipment used to accomplish a job to make money or sustain your family. Why would you treat that? Not that there weren't outliers. There absolutely were outliers.
Yes, they were. That's the problem, though, is because of the outliers that gets seen as everyone.
Yeah.
Well,
and
Clover,
it makes no sense. It would be everyone. I mean, plantations would not be successful if it wasn't for the hard work.
Well, Clover, I'm prone to kick my things if they don't work until they start working again. I mean, but
that's an outlier. But you're an outlier.
I can see people beating their tractors until their tractors start working again.
Yeah. Right.
Well, here's a thing that she just wants to believe this horrible viewpoint of history. It wasn't that bad. Literally, a slave was more valuable than almost anything else on that farm.
It was also one of the things they gloss over, especially in the colonies, is until such time as we told the Brits to get the hell out of here and pretty much kick their ass. It was you couldn't just like free a slave. It didn't work that way.
That's true.
So you come down and there were prior to the American Revolution, there were absolutely abolitionists. If you look at the 3/5 clause, for example, that was a little subtle thing most people don't look at, that the abolitionists squeezed into it, knowing that eventually later down the road that was going to create issues that would effectively abolish slavery. And ultimately, if you start tracing and tracking all the little things that were done,
Arthur Dye has been watching too many movies.
I mean, maybe.
If it was not that bad, why do we have an entire underground railroad helping people escape the system?
Well, because you've got generational. You got to realize this. So here's the thing. So we all know this to be true. Every person, it's humanity, goes through a rebellious stage at some point. This is putting the outliers of bad actors aside.
Sure.
You've got rebellious, slaves obviously bred, right? They did all of this. They were people. So they were enslaved, but they were people. And so they did their thing. And what happens to those late teen, maybe early 20s, mid 20 slaves? They're going through that rebellious stage. And what are they going to do? They're going to run away. We got suburban white kids nowadays that are on the wall at fucking Walmart missing because they've run away.
That's true.
It's through history, like that has never changed.
That was actually a thing when I was in school, was kids ran away all the time.
Yeah.
And
So
I mean, the
if
problem is if you keep bringing the example back to a small minority.
Hold on. We gotta address this bullshit. There was no freedom in the South.
Yeah.
The idea of freedom in the way that you're trying to express it is stupid. I don't normally like to use the word stupid as many times in a day as I have today, but once again, I have to say this is stupid. Number one, you do not allow a piece of very expensive equipment to sit out and rot, right? While you've watched too many movies, yes, there were slaves that wanted to escape. Absolutely. There were also white people that wanted to escape. They also went through the Underground Railroad. You are aware of this, correct? You studied history? Because I did.
There are people right now in shitty jobs that are trying to escape. What are you talking about? That's a bad argument.
Yeah. So,
valid.
And sure that you have people that want to escape, but the percentage versus the majority is very low. And the time of Harriet Tubman was during the war, when everybody that wasn't fighting in the war wanted to escape. Did you not understand the timeline?
Yeah.
This is the same bullshit that I get with people that don't understand the Civil War in and of itself. Do you understand that the Civil War was not fought over slavery?
Slavery was only abolished in the North to help the North's efforts in the war.
Yeah.
So this idea that they were running to the North because the North
Right.
didn't accept slavery is bullshit.
Yeah. Arthur Dye, do you understand the timeline of the Civil War? Because if you don't, I can't have a conversation with you and you're going to go have to read a bunch. No, you do not. Do you understand the timeline of the Civil War? It wasn't slavery at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It was a mechanism that allowed us to get rid of slavery, which at the end of the day, I think is a great thing.
Sure, that was a great thing. It took many years to get rid of indentured servitude, which was worth.
Mm-hmm.
It did not take a year for the South to react. The South was a country for a year before the North invaded the South.
Mm-hmm.
This is the correct version of history. The South seceded and acted as an independent country for a year.
Their own money, their own government,
Their own money. They had their own government. They had their own tax system. They had everything. Yes, I understand. I understand Angel Berber for sure. The North, it didn't take a year for the North to react. It took a year for the North to understand that the South was not going to come to the table and give them any money for taxes. If the South had said, okay, we'll pay you taxes, there never would have been a war, period, and the South would probably still have slavery.
Well, if there were trade agreements and
right.
certain
That
things
were
like
honored.
that,
That
there
were
would be
honored.
there would the United States would be still be split today.
Yeah.
I think slavery would have eventually went away either way.
Yeah, probably.
But it would be two different. It would still be two different. It would be two different countries
Yeah.
for sure.
The
If not
problem is
three.
that
If not
people-
three, because I don't know how the West settles. You know what I mean? With a
Right.
split
The-
country. So
the
there may
problem
be
is
more than one
people-
country.
People
Right.
and some of these people that have a misunderstanding don't realize it's thinking that modern day slavery, just because it's a different form, is not slavery. They don't understand, like, if you're financially indebted or, like I said, working a shitty job, there's modern day forms of slavery that people are also trying to escape and get out of. And obviously the only thing that they can linger on with the argument of that time is physical violence towards
Yeah, I mean that's in a roundabout way true. But
and obviously not having a choice to leave. I get that part, but again, with modern day, some people don't have the choice to leave their jobs either.
the problem is that the problem is this: the South made more money than the North. The North needed more raw materials that came from the South. They didn't want to pay for them. They didn't want to pay as much for them as the French and the English would pay.
Mm-hmm.
The South, being businessmen, sold their shit to the French and English.
Yeah,
it's that
mostly
simple.
The French. And that's why
Mostly
they
the French.
helped us out.
That's correct. Mostly the French. And the English threw in with the North because they figured if the North won, they would get the better price anyway. So that's why that happened. It was all about taxation and had zero to do with slavery, had zero to do with any of the other things that people try and throw up. It's just simply states' rights. The South did not care to pay the North an exorbitant amount of taxes, and the North needed and specifically made targeted taxes that they knew would hurt the South, so that they could force the South to sell their goods to the North, the raw materials, cheaper than they would, say, the French. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the idea that the slaves were cheap labor is false.
And the thing is,
that's absolutely
what I also want to say is, again, like, we can all bring up the I wouldn't say, like, big exception. I'm sure there was a lot of people that treated their slaves badly. You'd be silly to deny that, but I do still think it's that same thing. What I don't think some of these people saying a lot of this are realizing is they live on your farm, close to your home, where your kids live, the danger if you treated them poorly. You understand, it's humans with a brain. It's not animals that you keep in cages.
Right, sharp tools.
It's like you would get murdered very quickly.
And that's happened in his country.
If you were very unreasonable.
That's absolutely happened in South Africa.
Yeah, and the thing is, what also happened with us is the workers that worked on the farms are the same guys that fought to keep our country from the British. They protected the women and the children on the farms when the farmers went to go fight the British. They brought weapons. They did all of that. It wasn't. It's like family at the end of the day. Yes, it might be your slave, but
sleep at night being this fucking stupid. Are you serious right now?
Everybody's house was shitty unless you were like well off. What are you talking about? I live in a shitty house right now. It's like
Yeah,
I don't get it.
They-
It's the
They got
3/5
all
where
the
we're
best
talking.
food. This
The
is how can you possibly buy into such crap?
how is the
Do you know
how
how
is
much
the
calories it takes to have a man work a farm every single day?
Mhm.
You're going to feed that dude. I'm telling you right now, they're
Yeah.
not getting table scraps.
Yeah, why would you have them starving and they keep also the entailment of the money? If you live on a
It's
farm,
literally like
how are you gonna buy stuff? What are you gonna buy? There's no fucking Uber Eats, man. You get supplied food and everything you need to live gets bought for you. What are you talking
Right.
about? They had to travel by wagon to go buy stuff from the shops. You couldn't just run to the corner store. You're being silly.
they had
Where was the
so they
use of
had
money?
they had the necessities of life, right? They had what they needed.
Yeah.
Talking about the slaves, right?
Yeah, I'm
So
not
how
obviously
is
not
that
living in
different?
luxury.
How is that different than what politicians are preaching nowadays with universal basic income?
How's it different than military officers working on a military base that can't leave
It
the
wasn't.
military
As a matter of
base?
fact, the
How's it
slaves
different? They
often
can't
had
leave.
better quarters. This is the
Yeah.
fallacy, Arthur Diet. You have read too much nonsense and garbage.
Yeah, she's read the
But I
drama
actually
and
think that's a good
the
argument.
sensationalism.
Soldiers on a military base can't leave. They get told what to do. They get yelled at.
They get
They
the
get the
worst
provisions
food.
that they get.
There's none of this makes any sense. You are going to feed those workers even today, to this day, when there are people, when the people that work the farms, those farmhands get fed well.
Oh yeah, they were big strapping, like yeah.
They get fed well
Yeah.
because it's hard ass work. To say
Why
that they
would
get
you want to have them sick or lethargic?
leftover food, this is crazy. This is nuts.
Yeah, they gave them leftover food, but a farm has 1 worker, 2 workers. Are you being ridiculous? Even modern day farms have like 10 to 15 dudes on the farm. Are you being ridiculous? You think you can feed 15 men off of leftover food? What?
Enough to be able to
Table
work all
scraps
day,
for?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
That's because nothing
They
went
even
to
had
waste.
like their
This
wives.
is dumb. God, my
And
gosh.
also, who do you think? Who do they think made the food for the slaves? Their wives and people that also lived on the farm. It's like they were slaves that did multiple things, that worked in the kitchens, that did multiple things.
So
It's-
this is also a perspective thing because of this comment right here. The origins of Southern food, I would say soul food as well,
Sure.
come from the way that slaves used the scraps. Well, first of all, you can make any of that Southern. I'm from the South. I know any of that Southern food or soul food from stuff other than scraps. Can you possibly do it with scraps? Yeah, I mean you possibly could too. But then again, it's nutritious and it's fucking
There was
delicious.
no such thing
So
as
what's the
scraps.
problem? Even if
There
it's
was
made of
no-
scraps, is what I'm saying. Even if it's made of scraps,
Yeah,
if there's enough to keep you going and it fucking tastes good, and Southern food, I'm sorry, and soul food tastes good, by God, then what's the problem?
Well, hold on.
Yeah, the problem is they keep thinking in the prism of modernity, and
Right.
also, or they get upset by thinking we're advocating for it. That's the
I
problem.
actually have on on my property, I have a cabin that was from when the property was originally when they originally built a house on it back in like 18 whatever. And it is not a slave home, it is a home, and it's 1 room. It's built out of logs. It's nothing. It is a shitty little house, but it was somebody's house for a long time. Even up into hang on, we'll get into that in a minute. The origins of Southern food came along. They came from the way the slaves used the scraps. Nothing was scraps at that point in time. They used every single
got
part of
used.
the animal, every single part of the plant. Nothing went to waste. This is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
In my life. And yes, they made it taste good because why wouldn't they?
Yeah. I wonder how they made it taste good, because they probably had spices and things
Yeah.
to
Yeah, they
use
did.
to make the food taste good.
Right.
Right, and
magic.
the
They use
slaves
magic.
knew those spices, but you know, and so did the white people. Here's the thing. Well, I'm really gonna blow this up in a minute, but you keep. Wait, where did it go? Where did her comment go? I gotta go. Where was? You are the one believing a revised history, Arthur Daya. Your version of history doesn't even make sense. If you have 10 overseers on a plantation overseeing 100 men, grown-ass farmhands, and you beat those farmhands,
That have
doesn't make any sense.
pickaxes and
That makes
shovels
no
and weapons that
So
they can use.
So this is a female woman jumbled up wires in the head mess where men have boxes, right? Women have these jumbled up wires, men have boxes. We compartmentalize much better. This is a prime example of that, where we are taking the fact that the average slave, they weren't treated like royalty. Come on. They weren't. But
they were treated
but
better.
nobody
compared to
was
a lot
back
of
then,
compared to a majority, I would wager, a majority of non-slave owning, non-plantation, big business people, country living people, let's say white people back in the day, the slaves didn't live very much different than that. The average didn't. Again, we're putting the exceptions and the outliers on a shelf. We're conflating that with the idea that slavery is good. How are you? How can you even come to that in your head? The two are not related. We're not saying because
do you
one
know
is
what
true,
you
the
should
other
ask?
one is true.
You know what you should ask Arthur Dyer? Would you have wanted to be a poor white person or a slave working on a very rich, well-mannered slave owner's farm? Which one would you have rather been?
Yeah, poor and starving, basically.
Poor and starving, or working on a really, or working on a rich plantation owner plantation with like a lot of slaves that wasn't beating you.
Yeah. And back to the food thing for a second. Like the slaves were oftentimes the cooks for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so when you talk about the food that the slaves ate, the plantation owners ate that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like we said, with the cooks and stuff, a lot of times they were in the home of the slave owners, so they could just poison you and everyone. It's so easy to take you out because you're living with the people. It's not like they're locked in cages. How do you?
But you have to. Well, you have to separate. You have to again, Chris. You have to separate the idea that slavery is fucking bad, right? The ownership of another human being is fucking bad. It's evil. It's grotesque. You have to be able to separate that from the reality of what slavery
of
entails.
Life back
then. Right.
Yeah.
This is this is exactly right. You're sure they were nicer than and others more violent? Yeah, absolutely. That's human nature. It does not make owning a human right.
Well, we're talking
Nobody
about
ever
former,
said
not the
that,
latter.
Arthur Daya. You're the only one that's conflating the two. We're just simply saying that the myth of slavery in America has been pushed in a very specific direction to devalue one class of people. Let's just put that on the table.
Yep.
And B,
for political gain, by the way.
For political gain. And B, to put up constant tension where there shouldn't be any, and you are guilty of it. You right now are guilty of doing that 100%. You are guilty of that. You are an apologist who would rather who would literally pay reparations to someone who had nothing done to them, never had, never will, rather than simply say, yeah, it happened, so fucking what?
Yeah. And it's kind of a counter argument to say, oh well, if they weren't on the farms, then they wouldn't be able to get work. So clearly then it would be better that they have work on the farm. So I also don't get that previous argument.
I've got there's some comments out there about similar situation with homeless people that get locked up, I've actually got a cousin and a yeah, I guess you could call him a brother-in-law. That both of them, they cannot function in fucking reality in real life. Like they'll get out of prison or county
Yeah.
jail or whatever the fuck it is, and they'll go steal a weed eater or a lawnmower or some fucking stupid shit, and go try to sell it like right in the middle of town
Yeah.
or some like they're gonna get caught. Like you're gonna get caught, you dumbass. And it takes a while to figure it out, but eventually you're like, oh fuck me. Like they can't handle society and reality. And so they do that so that they've got 3 hots in a cot. They got somebody telling them when to go take a piss. That's just the way they're screwed up in the head or whatever. And that's how they have to go through life. That's how they have to function. And there are people like that, unfortunately.
But
Yeah.
Andromeda's spurging in the thing. Nobody's advocating for slavery, though. That's why it
100%
should
not.
even end in modernity as well. We're talking about times back
But
in
we
the
still
day.
have, but there are still slaves in modernity, and there are
Yes.
more white slaves currently than there are black slaves.
Mhm.
So how do we fix that, Arthur Daya? Can you help me out with that? By the way, for those that don't know, white people are the minority worldwide. Just throw that out there. Anytime somebody says minority, meaning black people, they're wrong.
Yeah. Africa's huge. Trust me.
Yeah, you can fit like most all other countries in Africa, except for like
Into
Russia,
Africa.
into
Africa's
Africa.
enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South America,
And also-
South America and Russia excluded. I think you can fit all other countries in Africa.
So yeah.
Crazy.
And Middle East and everywhere in Asia is huge. So like just that alone
Right.
dwarfs the rest of the world.
Arthur Daya, Middle East, Northern Africa, Middle Africa. I'm not sure there's still still slavery in South Africa, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's not some somewhere.
So this is going to be a little controversy, but somebody out there said something about whites telling blacks how it was under slavery. Well, first of all, modern blacks have no
how it was back then.
Let's not mix words here. Modern blacks have no fucking clue about what it was like under slavery either. So come on, they're being told stories and reading shit out of books the same as everybody else. They don't have a time machine.
Information you are.
They weren't a slave and stumbled across a fucking time machine in the field somewhere and then jumped to 2024, right? So they have no fucking clue. Second thing is, just like we were talking about with the YouTubers and everything else earlier, what sells, right? What gets the most traction? Sensationalism and drama. So of course, all the negative and the outlier and all of that, and that's all we're really saying, is that people fail to look at the entire picture. Take any based on a true story movie, like, and Chris and Glenn both are fucking in that vein. Based on a true story movie, like how much of that actually is truth? Most of the time, very little. From the ones I've seen that I've actually read the autobiography or some shit like that.
Yeah,
well, it's funny you mentioned that because like I just did a script
you guys
read.
talk for a minute. I got to be right back. I
just did a script read not too long ago for a true story that we're getting it ready to go into production next year. And it's pretty damn like
pretty close,
accurate. I want to say it's probably about maybe 95% accurate.
But would you say that's common or rare?
No, that's not common. That's pretty. You're probably looking at maybe 75%, 70% accuracy.
And then let me ask you that follow-up. Why do you think that is? That it's rare? Because it's not as entertaining?
Because the story itself may not be very
entertaining.
The story is a great story, but entertaining wise,
right?
It may not be
have to spice it up
as entertaining on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. And all of this, it's just common sense.
I would actually like to ask Andromeda, how's the feeling towards arranged marriages? Because isn't that also can't we make that technically slavery if it's an arranged marriage? and the wife can't leave, and she's stuck to, let's say, Middle Eastern place. She's got to do everything her husband says. How does that classify in this whole slavery conversation?
Man, that gets into when he's talking about the Middle East in general and that culture, right? Man, that gets into like some sticky stuff with this topic because it's very similar to what we're talking about.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm bringing it up, because that's just the norm still today there. And clearly, if it was a thing of that being as bad, it wouldn't be a cultural thing. So that's the problem, that when you just blanketly saying slavery, that can encompass a lot of things. That's firstly where we get into the weeds.
Hey, I got to jump. It's been fun. Before I leave, though, before I leave, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna jump sides. I agree 100% with Arthur Daya. Give him hell, Arthur Daya. But I'll catch y'all later. Bye.
You're weak.
All bad. All bad. Damn white people. Damn white people.
Throw him on the fire with the rest of the weaklings. What's up, Glenn? All right.
What up?
All right.
What up?
What's up, man? What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. Just work stuff.
You working? Am I keeping you from your work?
No, I'm chiming in when I want to.
All right. All right. People are treated like property in the Middle East, Arthur Daya. That's not unusual. It's been happening for a couple of thousand years now. It's not news.
People are treated like property everywhere still today, pretty much.
Yeah, it's not.
A boss will, if you difficult with your boss, he'll pretty much be like, bitch, I own you. What are you trying to get fired? It's like these concepts are silly.
I'm going to be surprised if the channel makes it another week with all the nonsense from today, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, am I going to get into trouble for being on this channel now talking about this?
Could be. Not you personally, but me for sure. I'm going to get I'm going to get blackballed or something. I don't know. Well, we can't say blackballed anymore.
Nah.
I'm going to get
anybody with a brain understands is that we're just talking about like back a long time ago, times were difficult and things were rough for everybody. And I think everybody kind of just did what they did to survive and would probably be drawn to best case circumstances. I don't think it was sunshine and roses for most people back then. Otherwise, we wouldn't have modernity as we have it today.
Yeah. Well, I really think that it's always an interesting discussion because of what is ignored and what is emphasized.
Yeah.
And the reality is that history's
the
not really
of the bad side. And it's also, again, last thing on this, we should move on, but it's also when people talk about that and, just blame, white people that, got slaves. It's, where do you think they got them? In Africa, they bought them from other Africans that pretty much they sold their poor people to white people. This chain, the story goes a little bit further than that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, people treat people like shit. It's not really a color thing. That's also where the problem comes in.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Well, let us change the history. Because why not? Why not change the history? You know what? The Greeks and the Romans did not actually enslave all of Gaul, which led to their downfall because we all know that when they brought their armies back to Rome, there were no Romans in their army. They were all other ethnicities and races, and they destroyed Rome when they saw how weak they were. How about that? Can we we'll just go with that. Yeah.
Yep. The main core is sometimes pretty much everybody sucks. There's people that suck of all skin tones and shades. unfortunately. And every culture has had slaves. Every color has had slaves. It's not, you can't attribute that to a certain people. It's everywhere still today, back in the day, all the days.
Stepfire, what did I miss? You feel better? Are you okay? Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. I hate it when I miss stuff, but I do sometimes. I wasn't feeling very good about it, but I don't know. That one tribe in Europe didn't.
Well,
Do you
they
know who I
did
think
as well, because but
What?
back in the day with kings and stuff, bad argument. Back in the day with kings, everybody was the king's slaves. What are you talking about? That stupid argument.
The Slavs
Yeah, everybody was
from
slaves.
slavery.
What are you talking
The
about?
word slavery
Like, people
comes
were free hundreds of years ago. Talking silly.
You had a debate yesterday. Is that the one that ended up being just kind of weird? You're welcome to come on, Stepfire, if you want to. Just get the link and jump on up, buddy.
What's going on with Stepfire? What did he do?
Apparently, he had a debate. He had a debate yesterday with, I forget who, but it should have been a slam dunk, and I don't think it was the slam dunk that they thought it was going to be.
Oh, I think I saw something about. I think I caught the end of that. Was that with Teriak and them?
Yeah, it was Teriak and Damon who were moderating. I use that term very loosely. So I shouldn't, my side shtick ought to be moderating debates because I'm pretty good at it. So pretty good at moderating debates. It's funny because what's his name keeps asking me to moderate debates, and I never get a chance to do so. What's this all?
Yeah, I think you'd be a good moderator, Grid.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what you should do. You should moderate some of the debates on Crucible. That would be dope.
All right, we got somebody has joined. Got to get my equipment over here. There we go. There he is. There he is. Look at the beard.
Howdy,
Another
howdy.
beard.
Howdy, sir.
I'm going to take the video off for the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. You're welcome to do so.
Sorry. This is not the other one that I was using before. So
You look fine. If you want to leave it on, it's good. If not, that's fine too.
yeah, there was that debate ended up devolving into basically he thinks that the Supreme Court has now granted the president the right to use the military to do whatever he wants to, including removing the Supreme Court and installing his own people. As long as it's done through the military, he has the right to do so. So
what did he cite for that?
I mean, it was just his interpretation of that's what it ultimately come down to. That's just how he interpreted what the Supreme Court had determined.
Yeah.
Was it a feelings argument?
I mean, it was basically a slippery slope argument saying that, and it's still, it's I still haven't been able to really wrap my head around how you get to that type of interpretation. Because basically my argument was they just reaffirming or elucidating what the past 250 years have been for America, court presidents and all that. But he was just saying, no, it was basically doom and gloom. Democracy's over.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
That's some crybaby nonsense. More crybaby nonsense.
I have that same deal in my.
Baby prattle.
It was good.
So I'm not really sure that I so what was the give me the debate prompt again? What was the debate prompt?
It was whether or I'm not sure exactly. I think we settled on whether the Supreme Court got it right on whether the Supreme Court got absolute immunity for the president, correct? Whether they're that.
That's what I saw. I didn't understand how we got to where the president could, from there to the president being able to order the military to.
So, I mean, what he basically, how he was arguing was that, because we agreed that when it comes to him exercising his core functions as president, he has absolute immunity for things that are outlined in the Constitution.
Sure.
And one of those things is as commander in chief of the military. So he was saying that using the military to do anything would be encompassed in the absolute immunity given with the Article 2 or Section 2 of Article 2 of the Constitution. So,
but there are very specific rules about that for the president.
Well, yes. He was basically conflating using the military and using the military to, or he was conflating using the military to perform his presidential duties and using the military to assassinate his political opponents. He was just conflating those two things as if they would be seen under law as exactly the same thing.
But it wouldn't be though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, because his presidential his abilities under Section 2 of Article 2 are they're enumerated first. So he would, had I been in the debate, I said, okay, point to which one it says that. He wouldn't be able to do that because
I did. I told him to point.
Yeah, because he couldn't, because what it says in Section 2, Article 2 is very clearly defined that the president, first of all, the president can only push the army into service outside the United States, and only for up to 72 hours or 78 hours, he can put the Marines on the ground for 72 hours without an act of Congress. That's it. He can't send the army in to occupy an area or carry out an airstrike or anything like that without
oppose the Supreme Court. Yeah, all that.
Right. There's a whole process there that has to be followed. So he was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
argument. He would have lost. He should have lost that argument because because there's no way for him to do that. The court, what the court has said is in carrying out his presidential duties. So that would be like he could, in theory, order the National Guard to secure an area, but the president has no authority on his own to declare anyone an enemy of the state.
Yeah.
So therefore, the president could not order directly order the assassination or even the imprisonment of anyone because they can't order them. They can't declare them as an enemy of state without congressional or Supreme Court oversight. So this is where the checks and balances system comes apart.
Yeah.
But even if it were so that let's say that he could, let's say that the president did just decide, fuck it, I don't like those fuckers down in Tennessee. I'm going to send a company of I'm going to tell the 82nd to just go ahead and take Nashville. Fuck them. If he did that, the command, first of all, he couldn't do that directly. He couldn't call the colonel at the 82nd and say, hey, do this. He would have to talk to a general. And the general would say, yeah, let me make that happen for you. And then he would lose that paperwork for a couple of days. Sorry, happens all the time. Don't know what's going on. I'll get on that. And in the
They literally
meantime,
did that with Syria.
huh?
They literally did that with Syria under Trump.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. The military, just because the president says do this, doesn't mean it's going to happen.
All those officials do not take an oath of office to the president of the United States. They take
Correct.
an oath to the Constitution of the United States.
Yes, that's exactly correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He is the commander in chief, but that's where it ends, right? So you could, I mean, the argument can be made that yes, okay, could he give the order? Sure. Would the military follow the order? Logically, no.
Yeah.
Because the military also knows that it is not to be used inside the borders of the United States. The National Guard is as close as you can get, but again, there are rules and there are checks and balances in that process, which you've already enumerated with the Supreme Court and or an act of Congress. You have to have one or the other. You can't. It's not a single key lock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to have to get the president's going to, and just like Congress can't order the National Guard to depose the president. They have to go to the Supreme Court and say, hey, the president is fucking psycho. We got to take care. We got to lock this guy down now.
In that case, they'll go through the impeachment process. So,
but if they didn't have time to do the impeachment process, if it was an immediate threatened action, like he was ordering the Marines to attack Moscow, triggering World War III. Right?
Oh yeah. He can't.
Because the president can order the Marines, specifically the Marines, basically to go anywhere, do anything for 72 hours without congressional approval. And honestly, you think about a company of Marines in 72 hours can basically, with their current structure and capability, they could occupy any country on the planet for 72 hours. Like they would take Iraq in 72 hours. You give the Marines 72 hours and shit gets done. Right? If that was going to happen, if for some stupid ass reason the president decided that, hey, we're gonna kill Putin today. And he said, all right, Marines, saddle up. You're going to go kill Putin. The Marines would saddle up and they would be waiting the entire time. They'd be dragging their feet, waiting for Congress to say, don't do that. Right? That's how that works. Right? I mean, so even though, yeah, in theory, the president could do stuff outside the country, inside the country, it becomes, I don't believe it could happen. And I don't, and again, the president cannot, there's no, who said that? They obviously they're not aware of our capabilities. Who said that?
They could not get to Moscow.
Dwight Baldwin, they could not get to Moscow in 72 hours. No way. That's wrong.
And Russia would have ended Ukraine in a week.
You know, that's wrong. The U.S. Marines can be anywhere in the world within, I think, what is it like? They have to be capable of being anywhere in the country within, like, it's under 24 hours. I think it's 18 or 19 hours.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics.
Yeah. Grumple-Stillskin would know. Where's that fucker
Oh, I
at?
bet he would.
That fucker knows. So within 16 hours, I believe that. There is a guideline for the Marines and their positioning within the globe that they have to be able to put Marine boots on the ground within X number of hours. And I think it is 16 hours. So that's it. I mean, they're just.
But also, I think we're discounting the fact that there are bases that aren't in America as well. So
right, that's what I'm saying, is that the Marines have a standing order that they have to be capable of have basically a unit of Marines, not just a few of them, like a bunch on the ground anywhere in the world, combat effective within X number of hours. And it's probably is 16 hours. That sounds right. It's not 24, that's for sure. In 70, give the Marines 72 hours and shit happens. I'm just telling you, it is. But anyway, that's irrelevant to the argument. The argument is that the president could deploy the military in the United States for against political enemies, and they really couldn't.
He was given the constitutional power to overthrow the Constitution.
Huh?
That was basically if I was to sum up what the guy's interpretation of the ruling was.
Yeah, again, he has to prove that out. It literally doesn't say that. I mean, he takes an oath to protect the Constitution.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Lost in Asia, Angry Casper, and Grumpelstiltskin. Grumpelstiltskin is no longer active, but he's a Marine, and I know that he stays in touch with people. I know things that I can't talk about things, and I'm not gonna. So,
yeah, the reason I was because during the debate, it was 20 to 30 minutes into the debate before I got to the point where I was like, oh, you have this radical interpretation of this law that I'm having to contend with. It was not until then that I realized that was even what his interpretation of what was going on was. So I had felt wholly unprepared to attack it from, this crazy interpretation that it was. So when the debate ended, I kind of was like, fuck, I could have done way better than that, but I
walk me through the debate. How did he open? What did he open with? Walk me through.
Well, he had a nice written out opener.
Sure.
It was funny because I did rewatch it today, and Jake had said at the end of it that he has a lot of the mannerisms of Destiny, and rewatching it, it did feel like I was dating a Destiny surrogate or something. But he had a well thought out opener. I mean, I don't remember exactly what it is at this point because it was a lot. I mean, he put a lot of information in both his opening and closing, but it was all. He didn't ever. When he did read from the ruling itself, he only read bits of it, leaving out. There was one point it seemed that he was trying to blur the lines between the presumptive immunity that was granted to the outskirts of the president's constitutional authority versus the absolute immunity for the things that are in the Constitution. And the argumentation there is pretty simple. They say that, he can't be above the law, but when it's written into law that he is above the law, then, it's hard to really make that argument because the Constitution grants him that authority to do the things that they are saying that he should be prosecuted as well. But, I mean, it's not a super long debate. You could kill it. I mean, times two, in an hour.
I mean, I'll take a look at it tomorrow, maybe when I have some time, if I have some time, but I'm just curious because I don't think that I would take a position on that. I would, if he opened with a positive, I would make him prove out his positive, and I would just simply give him examples of why that actually doesn't work.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to do that because it would have just been, it's a slippery slope. This is a hypothetical. You're
right. Yeah. And I would just continuously give him hypotheticals about why, okay.
This could have been what he needed to finally secure world peace and feed all the hungry in the world and end slavery everywhere. Back to the topic earlier, he could have done all these things if he had that power. He can do that now. You're like, yeah, you can posit any crazy hypothetical.
Yeah, but he could just as easily destroy the world. So that's why he doesn't have that power. Right. This is a problem with when you debate someone like Destiny, or you debate somebody who is really who is going to come out with, or you strongly suspect that they're going, first of all, that they're going to take the positive, that they're going to be, the president has this right. Okay, great. Why? Explain to me why. Oh, well, this, and this. Okay, but no. You're going to have to, and this is a really it comes down to a really basic technique, but it fucks people up all the time, especially people like Destiny who like to go on that attack and keep beating you about the head with whataboutisms, which sounds like what you got is what happened is that you took you took the negative position, and then you had to not only defend your negative position, but attack his positive position, and he just kept beating you about the head with whataboutisms. Is that accurate? I haven't watched it, so I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really any whataboutisms. I mean, so I was approaching this as good faith as possible, because mine was, I was going to go. Sorry.
You all right?
I was going to argue that the reasons that the Supreme Court got it correct was for problems of separations of power, for an effective executive, and for I forget what the last one was, but it was for those three. It lined up with what the Supreme Court had written out. So I was just going to basically go through their arguments on why they had chosen to go the way they did. But I thought that the argument that he was going to come with was that it is unethical for anybody to be given this kind of authority. And so that was what I was prepared to defend, but that wasn't what he came with. He's saying now he has the authority to do whatever the hell he wants to.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But it did get a little spicy there in the middle.
I still feel like that I would have taken no position at all.
Yeah. I mean, I was
People
coming to a
think I
good
do
faith.
that.
So I'm, and it was my first live debate,
that's the best faith
one-on-one.
That's honestly, people think that's a bad faith argument tactic, but it is the best faith, because now I'm not biased against what you're saying, but you're going to have to prove to me why you think I should believe that, why I should accept that as fact, and therefore you win your argument. And okay, and let's just say that he can. Let's say that he can prove it out as fact, right? He says, well, this is what the law says the president can do. Okay, great. Now I have to then that once if that's the case, which it's not the case, but if it was the case, then I would have to then come back, and then I would have to take a negative position and say, okay, well, morally, where does that leave him? And then I have to fall back into a moral argument, which I'm going to lose, but I won't lose as badly if he can prove the facts out. But in this case, he couldn't prove the facts out, so I would have just maintained the negative argument, and I could have won, because he may have tripped up and spurred out on the morality of the argument. The thing is that you don't win a debate just based on facts. If that were the case, we wouldn't debate. Okay, we win debates based on what people will believe, and once the technique that's pretty good is to just get once if I'm forced to take a negative position now, right? Like, he's proven out that the Constitution says he can do X. Okay, great. The Constitution says he can do that, but morally, is that the right thing to do? And then he says, well, who cares? It doesn't matter. He says that's what the document says. So it doesn't matter what your morality is. Okay, yeah, great. But he takes an oath to defend the country. Defending the country means that he would have to defend all the citizens, and he would have to act in such a way that he's not attacking the country. So now
he's literally the executive, the one that makes sure that the rule of law is being applied and that people's rights are protected.
So morally, if he's supposed to be doing X by protecting the law, even if he has the ability to attack Congress, for example, even if he has that ability to order the army to do that, should he, based on and morally, does he really have the authority to do that? Because morally, he's supposed to protect the United States government and the people. So it's and more than likely, at that point they would spurg out, because now they have to try and defend a moral position, and most guys like that don't like to take on morality at all.
Yeah.
So
because even if let's
then
say
once they
that's
spurg out, you win.
that
I just
he-
want to win, man. I just want to win. I don't really care. I just want to win.
Yeah, because even if he justified that now the president has these powers, then he would, even if you granted him that, like how now he has to prove that he would
Or that
use
he
them to do
should.
something moral,
That he
or that he
should.
should, yeah. Which
And that
that
he shouldn't be prosecuted, because people are prosecuted all the time, even if it's technically legal. People are prosecuted all the time for that. Hey, it's Chaotic Truth in the house. We were talking about you earlier, sir. You missed a great discussion. You
Which
missed
one?
an excellent discussion, sir. Chaotic Truth. I really like that guy. Chaotic Truth Live. If you guys haven't been to his channel, you need
You should
to
ask
go.
him if he got my email I sent him yesterday.
Sure. Glenn, he heard you, Glenn.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad.
What's up? Hey, Chaotic Truth Live. If you want to come up, this is a chill panel. We're just sitting around, banging shit around. If you want to come up, that's great. You don't have to curse as much as I do, at all. But guys, spam Chaotic Truth's site in the chat. Chaotic Truth, if you don't know, any creator that I've worked with or that I've been on their show, or they come on my show, he says he received the email, Glenn. Then he would then you're if you've been up on stage with us or whatever, we will spam you your channel in the chat anytime you are in the chat or on stage, because it's the right thing to do. So spam him out there, guys. If you haven't been and checked out his channel, it is lit. It is awesome. It's a great channel. I love it. I love going on there. It's a great break in my day. So, yeah, he's awesome. But yeah. So, what do you think about my take on your discussion, Stepfire?
Which part?
Or your debate? What do you think on my takes of your debate?
Great approach.
Yeah, I didn't like again. I was thinking more along the lines of how he would legally be able to maneuver these things. So I wasn't prepped to even. I mean, I could have gone down a moral and then get into the aughts, because leftists lose that one every single time, it seems. So I could have went that route, but again, this was my first live debate 1v1, so it was kind of we just agreed to it just out of the blue one day. He was hitting up the chat and calling everybody retarded and all that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I'll debate you. He's like, all right, sure, on what? And I said qualified immunity, or not qualified, but presidential immunity. And that's how it come about. So.
Stepfire, dude, I want to actually ask you something. I've also done like open mic nights for stand up and stuff, but do you think what I also think happens is, do you think you went in with a game plan and then he kind of like sideswiped you a little bit, that put you off of your game? Because that can happen, you know?
Yeah, well, that is what happened, and it's why it took a minute for the debate to gain any traction, and then once it did,
what now I'm in a different debate than what I was prepping for, basically.
Yeah. It's impressive when I see these seasoned debaters. They've done this stuff so much that if somebody is to throw them that wild card, well, they've already been there before, so they'll just switch into that mode of argument, and it's but that's just something that has to come with time, I think.
That's why I brought it up, because I also think like a lot of people don't actually understand, like Andrew and people that professionally debate, their skill level is something that is cultivated. It is quite not just easy to walk into a debate and argue with somebody on, especially then points you're not even prepped for, or giving you arguments that you maybe haven't even thought about. It catches
Yeah.
you off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you'll see a little bit of that, but I mean, they voted twice, about halfway through, and then at the end they voted again, and it remained unswayed, heavily in my favor. So I think that I still took it away, but I think I'll keep working at it. I enjoy debating. I do this shit on Facebook. Like, that's the only thing I've ever done is Facebook stuff, and then I get introduced to whatever, and I find Grid through whatever, so I start following Grid that way, and then I end up finding Andrew, and all of this stuff started happening, and then I find a group of people who like to fucking argue, and we can call each other retarded, and we can be mean and fucking, and then at the end of the day, you fucking just go about your business. There's no hard feelings. It's all in good fun, Yeah. It's been pretty cool, this community.
It's meant to be fun and to exchange of ideas, and then people keep getting their panties all knotted and emotional.
Some people, yeah, for sure.
People,
Yeah. So now, and keep in mind that I'm not I don't like to think of myself as a really good debater, because I just want it to be over quick. And I just want to beat you about the head with facts. And if I can't do that, then my backup plan is always to pivot to making you prove morality, because that's really hard.
Yeah.
And most people, no, I'm seriously. I mean, look,
I know.
There's you just have to, and if you choose to prove morality, then I will just pivot to questioning you that you have the ability to be moral in the first place. Right. So, I mean, it's just, it's just levels of moving forward and falling back. Right. So that's all it is. And some people, it's like, it's really like a different sort of dynamic, because when you have someone, especially it's someone that's not going to be in good faith, right? When you have someone that's going to actually try and argue a point with no basis in fact. And this is what Destiny does so much, is that he won't have any facts, or the facts he has are like the weakest facts on the planet, right? Like they came from Ladies Home Journal or some shit. And but he will lay those down as fact, and then when you question him, he will blow up and act like you just question the Bible itself, like, and it's a very effective technique. It really is. And when you watch Destiny, he just makes that shit up as he goes along.
Yeah.
So I really would love.
Hey, Grid, I gotta bounce off real quick.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've been on for 3.5 hours, so that's basically my limit. My buddy from South Africa here looks like he's about to fall asleep. He looks like he's had a rough one. Like,
it's like 6 a.m. here now.
Yeah, but you've been up all night.
Yeah, I have to play with you Americans, so now I gotta count.
Yeah, that's what happens. Is we get you off task, and then you should be sleeping, but you should not.
Sleep's for babies and old people.
Well, I'm gonna go be a baby then, because I'm not sure I'm old yet, but I have to get up in the morning, take my kid to school, all that kind of thing, and so this isn't a weekend. On the weekend, I don't really care that much, but it's
you got school, you got hard outs.
Yeah, I don't normally even stream on Monday, but I've been on 3.5 hours. That's I like to be on about 3 hours. That seems to be a good
It's
A
digestible.
long time to be on. So I do. Is there anywhere mods? Do we have anybody that we could send the people to redirect? Yes, thank you. Calling me old man. I know. I know. That's all right. Anyone in the meantime, while the mods figure out where to send this to do the stream to, it has been actually a really great kind of chill stream. We've been literally all over the place. I could stream another 35 minutes and send them to you. I literally I can't make it another 35 minutes. It will be fucking midnight. No, it won't. It'll be 11:30.
Flow State.
Huh?
So it's Mr. Flow State.
Flow State. Flowing through the state. Flo, have you been here the whole time or most of it? Amanda Thomas, you don't have to jump off. I'm not leaving yet, guys. I'm just looking. Oh, Noor? Yeah, we'll raid Rob Noor. If Rob Noor is on, we'll raid. I'll go over and raid him right now.
I think he was on when you started, so maybe, but he's probably.
Oh, if he's arguing, he's definitely he's going to be on for a while. That dude can go. I like that guy though. Which channel is he on? Is he on the Normal American? Is he on Normal America? Let us see. Live, yeah, there he is, right there. We're gonna go raid Mr. Rob Noor. Where's his damn link at? There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with you. We'll all go. We'll all go together.
Let us travel.
And we will be in Tipperary before you. Isn't that how the song goes? I don't know.
Which one?
I don't. Something.
Which song, Brett?
Road to Tipperary or whatever. It's an African song. Don't you know it?
No, I like metal. Yeah. I like metal and hip hop.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Metal.
What kind of metal do they have in South Africa?
No, we have good metal.
Yeah?
But no, I listen to American stuff. No, but I do
Obviously.
music myself.
You look like you're in a
like
band. Are you in a band?
I have a band and I do music stuff every now and then.
You look like
I do vocals. So I get asked every now and then to do some stuff.
You look at it. You look.
But I like everything.
Oh yeah, see-through. That's right.
All right, guys. I'm ending the stream. I'm
Yes.
sending to Rob Noor. Rob Noor is an awesome dude. If you haven't seen him, you are about to. All right, guys. Been a great show on an off night. Good arguments, good discussions. We'll see you over there because I'm going over there too. See you guys. Get off my